We've got audio and we are ready to begin. Perfect. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, judges of LVE, as well as everyone else accompanying us. On this rather precious day of Shabbat, cloudy, pretty. All of a sudden, it may seem like it gets cloudy, but then the heat goes up a bit and it goes down. But it's precious today, day of Shabbat from California, the US of A, corresponding to the 25th of Aviv. The last Shabbat of Aviv or Nisan is out. The first month, the most important month of the year, is on its way out of the year 5993 from creation. This corresponds to May 4th. We have entered into May of the year 2024. We shall study yet another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, part 15, or Chokhmah and Musar, part 15. Today is the last day of the week number 1. We are completing week number 1 in the countdown of the Omer, week 1, day 7. When the sun goes down, it'll be week 2, day 8. And so on and so forth for all the newbies that are counting this for the first time. So then it's already on its way out, the first week out of the 7. Today we will see if we can advance a little bit more in the book of Proverbs. I have to answer some questions first that are pretty interesting. So then we shall begin with a word of prayer. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks for this so precious day of Shabbat. We give you thanks because we have passed some days of feast that are very beautiful, unforgettable. I ask that your blessing be in every one of your children and also on this earth, and that soon all the promises, all the prophecies can get to its end. All this we thank you for in your precious name, Yahweh Sabaoth. Alleluia. Yahweh has blessed with one more year of life the following members of the Eternal Truth. And I love those white roses, which were brought by the Roblero lineage. Many thanks. Pardon us that we began late, but there's always complications. But those roses are spectacular, and I didn't want to forget to mention them. So then, many thanks. Let us begin with the birthdays. Emeralda Bejarano, Colombia. Adriana Lucia Campo González, Colombia. Javier Aranda, Chile. Elías Juan Francisco Herrera Escobar, Colombia. Josué Guerrero Ramos, Mexico. Lilian Claribel Hernández, the US of A. Neider Santiago Arisa González, Colombia. Edwin Orlando Gregorio Méndez, Guatemala. Alejandro López Herrera, Colombia. Carla Mario Ogando, the Dominican Republic. Erika Santos Magnolia Chaclán, Zapeta, Guatemala. David Barbosa López, Colombia. Gonzalo Eddie Leal González, Mexico. Daniel Cifuentes, Colombia. Neuma Macedo Cardoso, Brazil. Miriam Sanchez Designs, Mexico. And Marta Cecilia Gavilia, Colombia. Wow. We have a whole quantity right there this week for each and every one of you. A great big hug, many blessings, and we wish you that it be your last birthday under the government of Babylon. Time to go look for the moon. This Wednesday, May 8th, at sunset, the moon will come out and be seen. It's fundamental that all of us, every one of us, go out and look for it because it is day number 29. And because it's day 29, we have to see it physically, really, and actually, so then your word is valuable, even if you can't take a picture because you don't have the equipment to be able to take a picture, but your word is valuable. So then this Wednesday, May 8th, at sunset, the moon shall be seen. So then the whole entire Eternal Truth time to go and look for the moon, because it'll give a beginning to the second month, which is the month of Ishar, also known as the month of Zev. And the second month is good because at the 17 days of the second month, the deluge take place. That's good. I'm not saying that something's going to take place. No, I say this every year. It is really interesting because Yeshua said, just like in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. So then there is a good relationship there, but of course, due to general information, we give this month as important because it's in a month like this that we shall enter, and is the beginning of deluge, the full great flood that took place, and that's generally that we use with that code of 217, the fatidic day of the world Pharaoh. I'd like to remind you that we've got Angelina's consult. It's free to each and every one that is suffering and going through all the ailments that we know. There's always a base, an emotional base in every ailment per se. And our service is absolutely free of charge. Angelina will listen to you and will tell you where the conflict begins, and if there is a form, or if you want to resolve it. So that is how we offer it, absolutely free to each and every one of you, whether you are of the eternal truth or not. Either way, it doesn't matter. If it's your family members, exactly the same thing. Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our Elohim, Yahweh one is. That is the base of the eternal truth. John 8:31-32. Then Yeshua said unto the Jews that had believed on him, if ye were to remain in my word, then ye shall truly be my disciples, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Exactly. Notice, just to give it a new angle to that text, Yeshua, who represents, it is the projection, it is the greatest prophecy that exists, messianic, speaking about the Messiah. He tells the Jews that had believed on him. For the Jews, if they have faith in something, it's their faith in the Torah. For them, it's all about the Torah. And the Jewish religion and the Jewish faith is developed around the Torah, but the Messiah, which is what the Messiah is representing, tells them, look, you who believe in me, who believe that I am the Messiah per se, if ye were to remain in my word, notice that it doesn't say if ye were to remain in the Torah, which is everything that every Jew, I'm not saying wishes, but they are used to listening to, which is the symbol of their religion. If ye, like an Adventist, that if you were to tell them, if you were to remain in the Shabbat, in the Ten Commandments, then they feel like in their comfort zone. The Jews would want to listen if you are obedient to the 613 mitzvot, the 613 commandments. If you're obedient to the Torah, to the words of Moses, no, it doesn't say that. It precisely says something else. If ye, Jews who believe in me, were to remain in my word, it is not the Torah. Ye shall truly be my disciples. Indeed, for the Messiah is not looking for Moses' disciples. It's not looking for disciples of the Bible. Not even looking for disciples of God. Not looking for that, Messiah is. The Messiah is looking for disciples of him. That is why he says, then ye shall truly be my disciples, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Why? Because the Messiah is the truth, is the way, and life. Nobody gets to God if it's not through the Messiah. And that is what he's saying precisely here by Yeshua. Proverbs 25:2. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, yet glory of the king is to discover or search the word. And who's the king? Precisely the Messiah, the only one that has access to the truth. The entire world will say this, will say it to Yahweh and the Messiah. First, the Messiah speaks, Yahweh is my strength and my fortress, Jeremiah 16:19-21. Yahweh, my strength and my stronghold, my refuge in the day of tribulation. Unto thee shall come the peoples from the ends of the earth, and shall say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there is no avail. If it is men that makes themselves gods, then they are not gods. That is why, behold, I shall make it be known unto them. This time I shall show them the strength of mine arm. When you say the strength of mine arm, you mean my power. It's the same as if to say, this time I will show you my power, and ye shall know that my name is Yahweh. One sole Elohim, which is called Yahweh, YHWH. We don't know is how we pronounce it. That's why we say Yahweh, but it could be Yehovah, it could be Yehwah, it could be either way. It doesn't matter. Because if it mattered to him, he would have told us how to pronounce it. And if he told someone, that someone hid it, and it's not my problem. But we know that it's most probable that it is composed by these four words, Yod, He, Vav, He. And how is it pronounced either way? We just to make it a little more normal, we say Yahweh. It could be that the pronunciation, the most adequate one could be for it to be Yehovah. That is where the word Jehovah comes from. Very well. Let us read this text. It's been a while that we haven't read in Amos 3:6-8, Jerusalem 2001. Does the horn sound in the city without the people being in distress, or does an evil come to a city, and it's an evil, mind you, does an evil come to a city without it having been provoked by Yahweh? Notice that it says provoked, not allowed. The Christians would love for it to say that Yahweh had allowed it. No, provoked is something else, and to allow something else. The scripture is very clear. Without it have been provoked by Yahweh. No, he says no, nothing takes place if it has not been provoked by Yahweh. No, the Lord Yahweh doesn't do anything without revealing his secret unto his servants, the prophets. And what he will do, he announces it to you, and he has done it through the biblical prophets who have written, doth the lion roar, and who shall not fear? The Lord Yahweh speaketh, who shall not prophesy? So then the prophets don't have to be people in our understanding as what we taught that are holy and pure. Whoever is a prophet, whomever that has to give a message from Elohim becomes immediately a prophet. So then what is a prophet? Somebody that speaks for Elohim. Whether the person knoweth it or not. It could be, could a president of a country be a prophet? Of course, if Yahweh needs to give information. Whether it's true or false, that doesn't matter. And he uses a president, he'll use a president. What do I conclude with this? That Yahweh spoke by the mouth of the Worldwide Organization of Sickness, I'm going to call it like that, and spoke. Because that mouth, does not speak on its own, so then the one that spoke through about who is like unto the beast, that organization was Yahweh. So then he makes everyone prophesy in either way. He does whatever he wants, so then there is no doubt about it. Malachi 2:17, and that is why we've got here Neo and we've got Trinity. They're standing up, fixed on their bases. I hope they don't fall. Malachi 2:17, like what will take place in some days. 2:17. Ye have wearied Yahweh with your words. And ye saying, what have we wearied him? In that ye say that whomever doth evil pleaseth Yahweh, and in such he delighteth, or else where is the Elohim of justice? And what does it do what happens when Yahweh grows weary? If we read clearly, it is okay. Then here is where I send my angel of my covenant, that he purify you and prepare you for the path, and leave it completely free for the path of Yahweh. It's precisely what's in the prophecy. These words that we read Yahweh, whereas at the Elohim of Justice, actually, we like to use it once again, but actually, it's already been fulfilled. Because in the moment in which the answer of Yahweh says, "Behold, here I send you the angel of my covenant," it is because it's in an answer to where is the Elohim of Justice. So then he sends his messenger. That is the answer. Says, you want to know the answer? Because I'm sick and tired of you. Here I send you the messenger. The answer to this question is the messenger. That is the answer. We like to use it more, yes, aside from this, yes, to put more pressure upon, and so that he knows that we are complaining. I loved the comments, your comments last Shabbat in the previous video. It was fascinating. I read, of course, every one of the comments that you made. And we've got so many people protesting against Yahweh, and that who read them all, that we're not happy. That actually this has to be fulfilled, and that is the only way to put pressure onto Yahweh. Because if actually we don't pressure him, just like he taught us, by complaining upon him, he won't do anything. Because respect for the human race, according to what he says, that judge has none. So that the widow to stop bugging him, he says, "Okay, I'll do justice. That way I get her off my back." That's the effort that we have to do. Where is the Elohim of Justice? We've got Neo here in Trinity complaining. Where is the Elohim of Justice? Very well. Invitational text, which from many weeks that I love, Proverbs 1:23, Spanish DHH, pay attention to my corrections, and I shall fulfill you with my spirit. I shall make my thoughts be known unto you. He's talking about wisdom speaking here, and it is very astonishing because this was written after the Torah. Since it was written after the Torah, it is clear that it's not saying that wisdom, the one that you have to listen to, is the Torah, but it's talking, wisdom speaking rather, separating herself from the Torah, and she says, pay attention to my corrections. It doesn't say pay attention to the corrections that you're going to read in the Torah. No, it doesn't say that. It says, pay attention to my corrections, and it doesn't say the Torah, it doesn't say Moses, but wisdom, I will fill you with my spirit. How astonishing, because wisdom has a spirit. Wisdom personified, let's say it that way, it's kind of like a spirit, that you either have it or you don't. But if you pay attention to the words, then she, wisdom, starts to fill you with that spirit, and that is when we become wise, because we've got a spirit that the others don't have, that don't listen to wisdom. That's why it says, I shall fill you with my spirit. I shall make my true thoughts be known unto you. And if it says he'll make it be known unto you, it's because when you are not wise and you want to learn and you start to understand wisdom, wisdom will give you and making things be known unto you that you didn't know. That's why it says, I shall make it be known unto you, something that you didn't know up until then, unless you pay attention to the corrections. And everything begins with paying attention to the corrections, because this is what's important of the prayer written here, because it says, I shall fill you with my spirit, and I shall make my true thoughts be known unto you, if you pay attention to my corrections. That to pay attention to my corrections is absolutely fundamental. If you do not pay attention to the corrections, then you shall not be filled with the spirit of wisdom, and you're also not going to know the thoughts, the true, the most intimate thoughts of wisdom. That is why sometimes humans listen, but they don't want to be corrected. They don't want to be corrected. I could give you millions of examples. Because it could seem, well, what you're listening to right now, but you really don't want to do anything about it or correct yourself, but rather, yeah, that's right, he's right. but I see it in a different way, or he's right, but I can't change. So then you won't be filled with the spirit of wisdom. For the condition to be filled with the spirit of wisdom says, pay attention to my corrections. And not just to pay attention, but rather it is to start to change precisely because I can pay attention to the corrections saying I'm not going to correct them. So then I won't be filled with the spirit of wisdom. And I will not know what wisdom in itself is. So then we are in a moment still until Yahweh decides to do away with this stage of creation. We are in times of still to pay attention to corrections and to be, in order to fill our being with the spirit of wisdom. Wisdom and discipline, part 15. You know, and just in case if you forgot or if there's someone new, you can ask me questions in my Facebook. I shall read them in an anonymous way. If you write them in YouTube, then I'll send them in the way that you sent them. They're not anonymous, of course. If you send them to my Facebook, not on my wall, but rather written in the messenger, in the private DMs of Facebook, and I'll treat him as an anonymous question, and it'll be more, you'll feel more comfortable that you can ask me things that sometimes are difficult to ask, because there are many things that one does not want to ask, but they don't want to be identified with the one asking the question. But for that reason, they will be anonymous if you write to them on my Facebook. The first one that I'll read is a question that is public on YouTube. And I hope I didn't read this last Shabbat. If I read it last Shabbat already, then tell me. It says, and it's sent, it's public. It's sent by Jesus Manuel Chable Jimenez. I read it because it is in YouTube. Shabbat Shalom, friends Christian, Leslie, Angeline, and Brian. I hope that you find yourselves very well and that this week has been great to you and that you continue to receive multiple blessings from Yahweh in augmentation. I have many questions that I would like to ask him, but I'll start to ask him according to how the subjects are being presented and that it coincides with the subjects. It says Christian in the previous one. I don't think it's the previous one. I think it's the previous one. It's been 2 weeks. It's one of the subjects previously to this. You spoke about how the law is annulled for the people of Israel when the giver of that law died. For when the husband dies, then the matrimony is annulled and the wife is left free. Therefore, she can remarry another if she wishes. That is what I understand. Yes, absolutely. You understand. You have understood that well because that is what I explained. If a couple is legally married, they are married until death do us apart. Doesn't say that in until death do us part. It says that, right? Well, if death do us part, well, then in one way or another, I want to say there's other things that are included in this, but it is annulled. She is free to marry with whomever. So then, extrapolating this very same case with people, it makes me have these questions. When in a matrimony, one of the spouses dies, then the matrimony is annulled? Yes, it is annulled. Certain things of the matrimony are annulled. In other words, basically, matrimony is annulled. But what I'm referring to is that there are certain situations in the year that still subside, is that the properties that the deceased had generally are passed on to the spouse. So then, even if they're in his name, they're now in her name, and backwards, vice versa. Generally, if there is no will, and if there is no prenup. A prenup is what is used now. It is matrimony with a subclause before get married, and it's used a lot in the U.S. I don't know if they can do this in other places of the world. I don't know. But here, a man with lots of riches marries someone that he does not consider to be adequate, that by marrying her that he does not agree for her to owe half of everything that he owns. He says, I have these houses, this money, this isn't all mine. No matter if I'm married, if I die or if I get divorced, then that is untouchable. What I'm going to keep in common with her, and then that's where you had, I'll keep this house, I'll keep this, I'll give her, in case we get divorced, I can give her this much money. Those contracts are matrimony under contract. So then, taking that out, of course, then they die, and already that matrimony is dissolved, but you've got the contract of all the assets. If there is a previous contract, they go and see what, if there's no previous contract, generally that it's 50% of things and 50% of the children. That's the way it is. If there's a child, it's 50-50. If there's two children, then it's 50% always half to the wife. The other 50 is dispersed between the children, no matter how many children there are, but 50% goes to the wife. So then those are the things that are in a matrimony. So yes, it is annulled. Of course, there are certain things, certain situation that you have to deal with, but she's free to marry again. That's, I'll tell it to you right now. Very well. So then, the matrimony is annulled, yes, just as the matrimony itself is annulled. If the matrimony is annulled, the person can remarry entirely. They can remarry legally, religiously, and morally. She's free to remarry because with the person that she was married to, according to Ecclesiastes, the scripture does not have any part under the sun anymore. That never again under this phase of the 6,000 years, that is. But we have to understand it as so then no longer has a part, that person. Everything of theirs is passed on to the non-existence. The only thing that's legal to do is to give out all the assets, but they can remarry absolutely if the matrimony is not annulled, even with the passing of the spouse. Now it's already wrong because it is annulled. He didn't know what I was going to answer, but yes, matrimony is annulled. It's not if the matrimony is not annulled, even with the passing of the spouse, but I'll read it as such. If the matrimony is not annulled, even with the passing of the spouse and the person widowed or widower, they remarry. When the recomposition of this world and everybody's resurrected, who will that person's spouse be in the restored world? Of the first one or the second one? That's the same question they asked Yeshua of that woman that married one, he died, married another one, and then married the brother, and he died, and blah, blah, blah. Whom is she going to stay with? Yeah, it was like kind of like seven. It was like seven. Whom is she going to stay with? It's the very same question. This one is a little more delicate because these were two. The answer, I don't know if it would be correct that I give it as true, but I'll tell you what I think. Yeshua, first of all, he says, you know not the power of God and you know not the scriptures. He already said it. He says, first of all, you do not know the scriptures and you do not know the power of God. The two things that are very marked. And then later he says, in heaven, you'll be like the angels, where you do not marry or get engaged. You say, wow. So then in heaven, what you call heaven, which is not in heaven because we don't go to no heaven, earth is heaven. How will it be over there? Well, what Yeshua says, he's never going to tell you the truth as is. Because he says, I shall open my mouth in parables. So then the truth as is, he will not tell you. Don't wait for him to tell you. Some guy that says, I'm the Son of God, when he's God, don't wait for him to tell you the truth, because it's not in him to tell the truth. It was not his position to say the truth. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Not when he prayed or anything. It was not his mission or anything to say the truth. The only one that will say the truth is the Messiah. So then it was not his mission to say the truth. In fact, he wouldn't say it, and he says, I'm not telling you the truth, because if I tell you the truth, then I have to save you, and I don't want to. So then he would not tell them the truth. So then how can they take something that is so as literal as this, what he's saying, and he's just getting rid of the question in a very intelligent manner. What do you think about all this? Well, what I think is as follows. Legally, let's start with the legal matter. Legally, if a woman were to marry a person and that person passes, and then she marries another, and we get to the end because it's not clear, they're both alive, and they get to the end and they're still married with the last one she married. If they resurrect the other, he'll say, well, I divorced you because to be dead, or divorce, the same thing. It's just divorce from like, but I loved you. Well, then cry to the church, Death and divorce, the same thing, because the guy is married with her legally. You would have to rip all the papers there. So I'll rip them with you, and I'll go marry the dead guy that's resurrected. And the other guy says, no, but that guy is resurrected. See, that's the phrase. That's where the phrase comes from. No, it doesn't. What would be righteous? There's not an adequate answer. But legally, it would be that if they all die, then they're all annulled. Not with one or the other. I'm not going to marry the first one or the second one. Does the woman have the right to say that? Of course. If they all die, then it's all annulled. If you get there alive, well, it's annulled with those that are died. If a couple gets there alive, then that would be a different step. We got here alive, both of us. It's the Messianic era. Now we want to get divorced. That would be a different thing, no matter about the previous ones. The previous ones are absolutely divorced. That's it. It's over. Exactly. Or with nothing. Exactly. It is very clear. To die, it's like getting a divorce, per se. So then, if we go look from the non-legal point, but rather we go to a human point of view, romantic point of view, maybe that woman was in love with the first one, who died in an accident, or who knows how he died. But she lived in love with the first one, and she married the second one, just to, so that he could pay her bills, to not be alone, and many things. But actually, she was still in love with the first one. The day that they resurrect the first one, she's going to say, but I'm in love with him. If they were to ask Jacob, whom was he in love with? If they asked him if from Rebecca or Rachel or Leah, he was going to say, Rachel, the dead one, even more than Leah. You understand? So then, if we enter into the romantic part of the situation, I don't have an answer to give you, because maybe we get to the end and it's just this guy. It was just up until now, but now I want to get back to the other guy. So then, there's no logical answer to that. Actually, there isn't. I think that in the new world, we should choose, every one of us. I think that in the new world, I think that maybe, I don't know, I'm going to say something weird. What can I tell you? I hate the people that start to put rigid laws without knowing absolutely anything. I hate religions. I hate the religious leaders that start to say we have to do things like this. That has nothing to do with wisdom. Has nothing to do. So then, almost if you were to ask me on the new earth, could the possibility of divorce exist? I'll tell them, yeah. Because these two people, maybe they don't want to get along. They didn't get along, and they want to say experience something else during eternity. Then I could not say Well, how crazy would that be for me to say, no, now you're going to stay with this person for all eternity? You'll have to put up with this person for all eternity. I couldn't. Unless Elohim comes with some other rules, says, look, we're going to fix it this way. Okay, that's fine. I do not know what Elohim would do. The answer of Yahweh says, you know not the scriptures, and you know not the power of God. Well, both things is things that I know not about in all of the dimension, nor the scriptures do I know them in all the dimension, and even less the power of Elohim. Since he hasn't shown up since 2,000 years ago, I just know about him through scripture, and I don't know all the scriptures because I could not understand it all. So then already with that, Elohim covered me. He says, you know me? No. You know my power? No, then shut up. So then he already covered us there. So then I say, in what I know, and in what I understand about freedom, divorce could perfectly well exist. Yes, perfectly well. Why not? Unless later the opposite is proven. Okay, so then whose spouse should be? Here's not about who should she be, because if we look for an eternal life of the things that we should do and shouldn't do, and that you should, oh no, that's horrible. Send me to hell. That doesn't exist, and I'll never get there. But don't come with a whole list of what I should and should not do, and what I should do, the way I should act, and do this thing, and I should do that, and I should do that, and I should do this, and I should that. No, stop with that. I should. I think that within justice, women have the right to get divorced, and men also have the right to get divorced. It was an absolute animal insanity to tell men and women, you are one. And remember now, what man put together, let men not get it separated. First of all, God did not put it together. He could give his blessing, but he didn't put them together. The man and woman got together. The man and the woman got together. And it was due to an animal instinct that Yahweh placed in many cases. Careful, I'm not saying that this is all the cases, okay? Because I believe in true love and many other things. But in many cases, so as to not say most of them, they get together due to an imperial need to have sex. In humans, there's a very strong need, which is the most basic creative need that we have, that they need to get together to have sex. If God, in his power, he were to eliminate that need, then no one would ever get married. I mean, no one would get married. The friends could live together, men with men, men with women, but to get married, to live in a bed together, never again. The only possible union that there could be is the sexual attraction. That's the way it is. The sexual attraction. Maybe you don't understand it. Maybe you disagree. I believe in true love completely. But true love, if you take sex out of it, it becomes just a friendship. Just a true friendship. And a friendship in many things. But from that to actually live in a house and share a bed and say yours is mine and mine is yours and this is mine, and to fight. No. Because everyone has his own situations and we're individual, and that's it. It's over. The only thing that it causes for humans to want to get married is sex. There's no other situation. They can add convenience, not loneliness. You can add all that, but they could live anyone could live together like roommates and friends, but without having to share a bed. You understand what I'm saying? Without having to put up with what the couples that you yourselves tell me have to put up with, because it's kind of like you're with invisible ties from an attraction that if later that attraction is lost, then that matrimony becomes a total hell. Just like that, total hell. When that attraction is lost, so then man or woman, they'll look to supply that necessity outside of matrimony. So then we have all these older guys thinking they're still young, and then the women that the society treats them like whores, because she's promiscuous, whatever you want to call them. It is a physical need, just like that. It's a physical need, just like eating. If they don't feed you here, you're gonna go to the neighbor, or you're gonna find some banana on the street and you're gonna eat. Why? Because you're hungry. because you're hungry. You can't say, no, I'll eat at home only. No. If they don't feed you at home, you're going to eat anywhere. The same thing as if to go to the bathroom. It's basic need. I go to the bathroom only at home. No. Try to stay out long enough. You're going to look for a place to do your need. Well, with sex, there's no difference. There's no difference. The difference with sex is that one could suppress that. It's not like with a meal. It's not like that need of going to the bathroom, which are immediate. You can suppress that, but once you suppress it, I tell to you right now, you'll suffer consequences that are so serious at an emotional level, DHS level. So then it's the same situation, because it's a need that you should not suppress. Amen. That suppresses that need, that normal need, and suppresses it, is a man that will be unstable mentally for the rest of his life. There's no such thing as a holy man given unto God that has so much mental power that the animal passions, the lower passions, quote unquote, he reduces him to a point that he no longer feels anything. He just has a spiritual connection with God, and he's so good, and he has disconnected anything that, all his whole sexuality, he disconnected it to a certain point that he doesn't even remember, not even what that apparatus that he has works for. That is a lie. That if somebody says that, if somebody says that they have that, I can assure you that he's a sexual pervert that looks at himself in the mirror and doesn't like what he sees, so then he projects the image of being a holy man, that he has no need, that he can look at a naked woman and it's as if he would see, I don't know, like if he was looked at a dog, sick dog. No, it's a lie. It's an absolute lie. Same thing happens with a woman. Women can suppress their sexual needs, maybe because she doesn't have a male, or religiously she has been affected. But there comes a point in which that it's a DHS in itself, and then later it'll have its physical consequences that you can tell everywhere, from her face, her body, her actions, her character, and her organs. Or she loses her sexual organs, or she'll be so embittered, and that is where you have that phase of hysteria. His feminine hysteria, which I've explained to you already, was the effect of a woman that she was not being sexually satisfied. So then, what could God come and later say? You are not sexually pure, but you made a need. Oh, you're not. You eat too much. This is a whorehouse. No, he cannot say, if he created this whorehouse, he created this whorehouse. So then, that's the way it is. Because you get surprised because the adolescents that have so many hormones say, these degenerates. No. What degeneration are you talking about? It's a basic need, just like being hungry, just like being cold and covering yourself up, just like all the things, like also having a place where to be. It's a basic need that was invented by God, or God transmitted it. I'm not saying he invented it, because maybe he has it also. So then, which is the subject about the couple in this point in time? What unites the couple the most is the sexual attraction. If there's no sexual attraction, that couple is broken. They're just friends, and there's a difference between a couple and they're just being friends. In the best of the cases, they're friends, but sometimes it's broken, now they're enemies. So in the best of the cases, they're friends. But a couple is not sustained without the sexual link, because it is the primary strength of human beings. In fact, they say, I don't know, because the truth, I could not know. I could not know this now, but they say that humans, without the sexual drive, they would not want to do anything, not even to get ahead, because everything that humans do, they do it based on sex. If that's true or not, it sounds as yes, it could be. That drive of a man wanting to have a better economical position, to have a better house, to have a better level of life. It is sparked, triggered by the sexual drive, which is transmitted in every aspect of life. When they see a man that doesn't care about sex, doesn't care about anything, doesn't want to have a nice house, not even to move out of his mother's home, doesn't care about anything, he doesn't have that sex drive, and that is not just to have a sexual relation, but also to look good, to get fit, to be look aggressive. That is all we emanate sex and everything. Motivation. Why do people go to the gym? They say, oh, to look better and to have good muscles. Yeah, it's all fine. It's all fine. That's all, to look better, to have good muscles, to run better. You can do more sports, but if you actually go down to it, it's only because if they're heterosexuals, that is, for women to look at them and to look for a macho that is sexually active. There's no other reason. There's no other reason. There's no other reason. If they're from the gay side, so then for them to be seen with, remember, gays are the ones that work out the most. They were telling me. I don't know if it's true. They're the ones that use more anabolics to have bigger muscles and to put off their man. They're gay. They want to look good to get better couples. Man is different because they're looking for a woman, and they have to look at him like it's kind of like what we still don't understand, because religion has not allowed us, is that if we reduce the needs, the motives, it's all sexual. Because man becomes strong and beautiful. It's kind of like a sign saying, here, there's a good male that can provide and can leave you pregnant because I am strong. That is at a subconscious level. And the woman, contrary. The woman, what motivates a woman to look beautiful, to do her makeup, dye her hair, to look in the mirror? Why? Why does she look at herself in the mirror? Because whether they accept it or not doesn't matter. Maybe you think it in a different way. No, I just want to look beautiful because no, you don't see this. A woman only wants to look beautiful because she desires for the opposite sex to look at her like a good trophy. It's like an identical flower. It's kind of like the flower says, no, I open myself, I let out this perfume because I love to look beautiful. No, that's a lie. That flower do that so that the male flower can come and fertilize her. That's the only reason. There's no other reason. It is not so that you can see her beautiful. No. It's so that the contrary comes and fertilizes her. There's no turn of the page. No one ever has ever become beautiful because they say, I am very valuable, I want to look beautiful. No, that's fine. All the motives are fine. I know that now. All the women must look beautiful. That's fine. But now I want you to understand that men and women both become beautiful to attract the opposite sex. It's a primary law, absolutely primary. When a person, and you see a woman at home that does not get dressed up, and she's always in pajamas, and you look at her and she has her hair's all messed up, and you get close to her and she smells like onions and fried things. That woman doesn't want anything from the other sex, nothing. She really doesn't want anything. When you see a woman that is beautiful, it's because she wants. And it could be only for her husband, but either way, no matter if it's her husband or the neighbor, that doesn't matter. Or it doesn't matter if consciously she doesn't want anybody, but she wants to go out into the supermarket and she wants to look beautiful. That, about feeling beautiful, is to project an image to the whole world, because if she were alone, then she could not do the same thing. So then, if you want to know the primordial reasons, it is sex, man and woman. Every single thing they do, it is because of sex. That is why they say that man works and, and thrives and has that desire of conquering, sex is still the main reason. That's it. No more words. And I hope you have understood it completely well. What do I advise is for men to look beautiful and for women to become as beautiful as possible. That's how we fulfill our primordial function. If you, because maybe you thought that everything that I taught was contrary to this, Christian says that from now on we have to look very much ugly. I didn't teach that. I taught the contrary. The contrary. If a person does not look beautiful, does not fix herself up, does not look in the mirror, doesn't expect the same thing of her, that person is already dying. Because we are sexual beings, at least during this phase. So then, to put up your spirit, to pick up your spirit, become beautiful. Fix yourself up, because only to look at yourself ugly in the mirror, the only thing you can do is to enter into another devaluation. When we talk about devaluation, it's kind of about sexual devaluation per se. So then there's no solution to let yourself go, because I said that because I know that you misunderstood all the contrary of what I'm trying to teach. What I'm trying to teach is that everyone has to look the best as possible. That raises our humanity to the maximum that it could be, and that's the way it is, and that's the way it should be. That's why the religions ruin people. They ruin them entirely because they do not teach what I'm teaching. And of course, absolutely, there's a machista, some filthy machista like Peter starts to say that women do not use jewels. Why? Because he would look at women very attractive with jewels. I'm reading the mind of Peter. Immediately I read it. He says, she wears jewels. It makes me look at her. Wow, they do look good. So then how does a machista, a filthy machista like Peter, is the only one that could ever say, hey, women should not wear jewels, and if they all cover themselves, that's even better than another machista comes like Peter, and he says, and the glory of God is man, and the glory of man is women. And even if it's due to the angels, she has to cover herself up entirely. That's what Paul said. But I can't remember the text. If you can post it for me there, Leslie, if they post it, it says because of the angels, but the angels I could give a fuck about. How's he going to say such rubbish to guys in which, when you start to see rules from religious leaders like Peter, like Paul, like any disciple, and you start to see that they are rules that are, I cannot say the name, not weird, but very strict. You have to see that in something it bothers them, they want to refrain that problem. That's the way it is. When in the churches, everyone starts to say, you cannot come with that mini skirt, you can't wear this or that. Actually, even if sometimes they may be right, so that the women don't come so extremely attention capturing. You have to notice that right there in the moment that the one that given the rules is, there's a problem because they don't want to look at the woman like that because it excites them too much. And he says, this woman makes me sin, so then it's better that we have her come completely covered. That is why Peter and Paul were really idiots. Did they post the text? I was saying that because of the angels, the woman has to cover herself about something, and because of the angels, I can't remember the exact text. Something about woman, long hair, and angels. And we'll read what our friend Paul said. If what I said bothered you, it's because you haven't understood anything and there's no need. You're not going to learn wisdom anywhere. If you think that sex Yes, that one. First Corinthians, precisely. It was open there. First Corinthians 11. I was close. First Corinthians 11:7. It says, it starts in 11:1, right? Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Even as I also am of Christ. First of all, Paul, and I would tell Paul, Paul, you cannot imitate Christ because you've never even seen him. You haven't even been a disciple of Christ, and that Christ is not Christ, but Yahweh. So then of the Christ, you cannot be a follower of. That's first of all, because the one that came was not Christ, but was Yahweh. So then how am I gonna imitate you? Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I deliver them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ. Oh, what a machista. Look at the Christ is the head of every man, not of every woman. That the Christians start to think a woman that reads this says Christ is the head of every man. I'm going to read how a Christian woman reads this that doesn't even know where the fuck the Bible is. But I would have you know that Christ is the head of every man, and the head of the woman is the man. That's it. Don't tell me that there is a statement or a more machista or misogynist statement than this. It says Christ, we're guided by Christ. You women are guided by us. Christ will never guide you directly. No, he guides us so that we guide you. It's more than clear. But I would have you know that Christ is the head of every man. And the head of a woman is the man. And the head of Christ is God. And God, Christ, the man, and last, the woman. That is machismo, filthy machismo of Paul. And yes, every man praying or prophesying have his head covered dishonoreth his head. This is if a man prays with a covered head, it is an affront. What's another word? It's like disrespectful. It's like something done wrong. Give me another word. Wow. It's like an insult. Insults his head. Notice, every man that prayeth, shame and dishonor, yes. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. You know why he's saying this? He's saying this, saying that because man, in order to pray, he does not have to cover himself, not even with talib or nothing. It says it would be dishonoring his head. And now he's going to give his own logic about his own logic. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered, like a male, like we, dishonoreth her head. It is a shame, a dishonor for her head. For that is even all one as if she were shaven. But who the fuck is Paul to speak so many stupid shit? I could also give a statement here. Paul was a sexual degenerate. I could say Paul was gay that loved to have oral sex with the disciples, just because I want to, and then write it. Because here, what Paul says is because of the wickedness of his heart. To have women to cover their heads is the same as that fucking Muslim mentality that the women have to. Why do you think that Muslim men, which are ultra machista and they are useless, every last one of them, no wild jackass is worth anything? Why do they have all the women to cover everything, and then some even say only leave the eyes out? Because they think that so they do not spark the male instinct that every man has. And they mark what is their own very close. Well, Paul makes no difference with those sons of bitches. No difference. That's why I do not respect anyone in the Bible. I don't respect them. That's why Yeshua said, if you want to be my disciples, not of Moses, my disciples, then pay attention to my words. Unless you want to have Moses' religion. That's what Yeshua said. You who believe on me, it's better that you start to understand my words to get to be, truly be my disciples, and then know the truth. For through the Bible, you'll never know the truth, because it was written by every son of a bitch, like Paul Tarsus, like Peter. There's no one that I respect in the Bible. No one. Just like that, no one. I don't respect. If I were to respect them, then I would be Jewish, of a Jewish religion, Judaism of now, or I would be a Christian that reads this and says, oh, Paul, yes, he's right. From here on out, you, Leslie, and all the women, I want you covered. Because Paul's right. Paul's right. It's not a situation like many sons of bitches have told me, Adventists, because one time I faced a female pastor, a woman pastor, that she almost started to cry because I told her, you cannot even go out with your head uncovered. You can't even speak or even ask in the congregation. Can't even speak of the Bible, even less be a woman pastor. Who the fuck do you think you are? If you follow the Bible, a woman has to be covered. She told me no. Like all the Adventists said, no, because that was a different time. No, this is not about the times. The angels were of a different time then. It says as follows. But I mean, it is so clear. It is so clear. This is a rule that has no time. It's timeless. No, because the Romans... No, not because of the Romans or anything. Paul gave a command to every woman. He says, but I want you to know that Christ is the head of every man, and man is the head of the woman. And God is the head of Christ. Every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonoreth his head, but every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head. For that is even all one is if she were shaven. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. What? Because that son of a fucking bitch called Paul of Tarsus said it. That dog shit person. Because he said that because he wanted to say that. I want to see women covered or else have them be shorn. But who the fuck was Paul of Tarsus? And if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. I mean, who the fuck that Paul thinks he is? You think that Paul could have any respect of mine? You think Paul can be a part of the Messiah? Never, ever in his fucking dreams would the head of the Messiah will be the head of Paul. I'm to tell you right now. There he was right. The head of every man like Paul, yes, it'll be the Messiah. But of course, absolutely. And it continues. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he, the male, glorious male, he is the image and glory of God. But the woman is the glory of the man. Another statement or ultra misogynist statement. If I were a Christian, I would send Paul to fuck off. I would not care about anything else that's good that he could say. I could give a fuck anything else that he says. And if I read this, and if I were a woman, I would never enter into a Christian church. In my fucking life would I enter into a Christian church if I were a woman, just like that. Because of statements like this. And then for some idiot to come around in the church to say, no, because that was back in the time. But it is absolutely nefarious lie. If he's saying not because of the time, he's saying it because man is the glory of God. He's the image of God. But the woman is not the image of God. The woman is the image of man. So then let the woman to cover her head because she's so much inferior. Let man not cover his head because God looks at himself and him, but he looks at a woman and he sees the image of a man. that is enough to never set foot in another fucking Christian church because of these imbeciles like Paul Tarsus. If you have a different opinion, I would tell you to never listen to me again. And to go to a church, go. But I mean, if you go to a Christian church, and I'm speaking to all the Christians that later will write stupid shit in the comments, follow what your Christian leader says. Your Christian leader's name is Paul Tarsus. And Paul Tarsus obligates you, your wife, and you as a woman. Yes, you as a woman, you should not even add a comment here, because you would be sinning. If you have a question of what I'm speaking, ask your husband if you have him at home. But do not even raise your hand or even write, because you're no one. You're no one. You're just a bug. You're a bug made in the image of the man, but not of God. The only one that is made in the image of God is man. If they make a clip right here, it says that's what the eternal truth teaches. That is what the eternal truth teaches. So then I didn't understand, how is it all the Christian women don't say, you know what, let us... No, I don't want to say something violent. I was going to say something violent. You know what? I'm not coming back to this church. I'm not coming back to this church. Tell the truth, we're not made in the image of God. Of course we're all whores. Because we're in your image. You made us whores, man, and that's why we're all whores. That's right. We're your image, but you don't tell me that you're the image of God, because you're dog shit. So if you're the image of God, I know how God is and I see you. So then all these nefarious people, we're still in the message of Paul, we're still here. I'll read again because maybe you haven't understood. It says, because man should not cover his head, for he is the image and glory of God. But the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, ever, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman, it's a must in English, must, to have power on her head, because we want to mark, it is the sign of the man. You have to mark the women, a sign. You have to put to these daughters of bitches, because they're not our image of God. I want to teach them. Paul Tarsus, we have to mark the women. The woman must have a sign of authority over her head because of the angels. Right there, he really messed up. He already lost. And what do the angels have anything to do with this? Aside from that, except for Adam, I understand. But he was referring to Adam, the first one. But he was referring to Adam. I understand. No, that's it. So then it says, some say, no. But this is more than anything what I'm about to say. It is not necessary to say this, but I'm going to say some people take this to the level of another book which is pretty stupid, which is the book of Enoch. And they say, you know what, the woman has to be covered because the angels are very sexually active. And just like it happened, that's the way they explain it, just like it happened in the time of Enoch, the angels are looking at the women and they can get excited and fall again. So then because of the angels, go cover yourselves, because the angels are kind of depraved. They're kind of sexual pervs, and they start to imagine things. So then no, because of the angels says precisely, you have to cover yourselves. Now, if we want to take that about angels as messengers, then it's mentioning himself, because the angels are the preachers. Angels, from the point of view, the biblical point of view, esoterically speaking, they're winged beings that we don't know anything about. But if we read the name that is very much used as angels, it's for those that are messengers, because the word angels is a messenger. So Paul is a messenger, and he could read it this way. Because therefore, the woman should have a sign of authority over her head because of me. Because I look at her. And since I don't see a sign, and I already start to imagine that I'm doing things, and my mind goes into something else, so then, of course, all your women cover them because of me and all of us that preach. And also because of the other guy that's just like me, whose name is Peter, and the other guy who's just like me, and is Jacob. They're all just like that. If I were to tell you, because of us, the angels, cover your women. So then, what do I think about divorce? Because that is where this whole situation started with. We started to talk about divorce. It is that humanity has to stop making man the owner of women. Women are autonomous. That under these 6,000 years of creation, she has been subjugated to men, subjugated under a curse. Notice that the phrase in Hebrew, it is very literal when Yahweh says, and your desire shall be unto the man. Yahweh created and intensified the desire that is had that man has upon the woman. Let's see how it says in the Spanish DHH. Let us go to Genesis 3, where the curse comes, and Yahweh, here it is. He told the woman, 3:16, he told the woman, I will multiply your pains. I sorrow in the conception. A Christian would say because of sin. No, it is because of Yahweh. And in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. All your desire shall take you to thy husband. That desire that we're speaking, let's see how it says in another Bible. That desire is the only thing that keeps a couple together now. If it weren't because of that, women would not even look a second time at men, and even less because of the way they treat him. Genesis 3:16. He told the woman, I shall multiply thy sorrow in thy conception, and with pain you shall bear your children, and your desire shall be unto thy husband, and your desire shall be unto thy husband. It is a very difficult phrase to translate. It is very difficult because even if I read it, and your desire shall be unto thy husband, what is that about your desire shall be unto thy husband? What does it mean, your desire? I cannot even comprehend it if I read it a million times. How is it that the desire of the woman is to the woman, but what if she's not married? No, what it means is that men were going to have a brutal desire over women and women towards men. It is a union which is a malediction by Yahweh, placed by Yahweh, that ruins millions and millions of lives, but in turn it is what made the human race to multiply itself. It is what makes the human race to get multiplied. So then man gets one or two pregnant, goes with another woman. That is his mission, the mission of his life. And women, now that she's becoming conscious of things, is when she says, no, hold on, I'm not just a machine, you idiot. I want to study. Before, women could not study. I want to work. Before, women, the only work they had was at home. But not the woman wants to be something. And who says no to that? The Germanic medicine says, well, a woman should be in her nest. No, that is the malediction. That is a malediction. If I were a woman, wow. What was I born for? So for some guy to come and to tell me what has to do. Nobody wants to have a pre-established task. Why does man have the right to go out and study and work, whatever he wants, and enjoy, and the woman to be stuck at home? You know how many crazy issues women develop, and it happens to many of you that can't go out, and you start to have emotional problems because you can't leave the home because the husband says you have to take care of the children. You have to have my whole home clean, and I go out and I talk with other men, with women, and then I come all tired. And then for you to serve me, and the woman is just an animal, like a robot, stuck at home. And if she enjoys it, that's fine. But even if she doesn't enjoy, even if she enjoys it, is it okay? The thing is that if the woman goes out, then the children suffer all kinds of DHS because Yahweh placed that curse. So then there are rules we cannot break. If a woman has children and then leaves them, and then let another one bring them up, I'm going to go and work. Then the children have a whole bunch of DHSs. So then there's nothing good in this world because I don't see it as okay for a woman to be pre-programmed like a program. If you're a woman, you're going to stay at home. The one that can go out is your husband. And the woman says, no, I don't want for this animal to provide. I want to provide, not to because I will provide. I want to study. I want to go out and to know more. I don't want to be stuck at home just like a housewife. What happens with a woman like that? She'll be unhappy her whole life because if she got married, or she's fucked. That's why I speak to the girls. I speak to all of them. I am against the rules placed by Yahweh, and I'm against religion. I think that the girls should not even try to get married. Don't be idiots. You're following the programming you have. Break that program. Do not submit yourself to some guy. Study, do your life, do whatever you have to do, and then later, when you're satisfied, then barely then can you look for some guy. But the hormones that were placed by Yahweh, because it's a curse. Look at a whole bunch of you could not agree with me. That's fine. That's fine. But the hormones, you say it's normal. No matter if it's normal. What's normal is the curse. A 14-year-old, 15, 16, 17, 18 should not feel that she has tingling things in her sex and she sees a man and wants to get pollinized. She should not feel that. It is a curse from God. It is a curse. That is the desire. It says here, now your desire shall be unto your husband. Because then the woman has all her mind. I know that it's normal because it's the curse. He has his whole mind about thinking who will pollinize her, and she makes herself be beautiful and shows her cleavage and wants to show a miniskirt. But that is all like a flower that says, hey, come and pollinize me. If the woman thinks and says, you know what, I'm not going to follow the established rules with the curse of God. The only way to stop the curse of God is by breaking with those, doing away with those rules. Break them and say, as a woman, I will not get married or have children. You know how this world would end quickly. It would end quickly. It would end quickly because if we continue like idiots and we follow our natural instincts, they take us to everything that this world has done. So then a girl is left pregnant, and then again she's left pregnant, and she has 2 or 3 children. She becomes some lady that is never fixed up, and so the husband no longer likes that girl, and he starts to look for other girls that are available because they all start to flourish. They start to flourish. So then the husband starts to look. Because it's their nature, and you should not follow the nature. You should not follow precisely. God placed that nature so that wisdom to tell you don't follow that nature. Don't follow it. Don't follow what you feel. If you follow what you feel, then you'll be a failure. I tell you right now, if you feel like you want to steal something, you steal it. Don't follow what you feel. Don't follow what you feel. If you follow what you feel, you end up pregnant. You end up pregnant. And you end up embittered because you got married incorrectly. It was just by instinct. Then you'll be frustrated with children that tie you down. And then the misery comes and poverty because the girls didn't study, they don't work in good places, they don't develop intelligently, they are left like brutes, little brutes, having children. All they know is how to cook, and all they know is about gossip and family problems, when all that could be avoided. Says, you know what, I'm not going to have children. You know what, I don't even want any son of a bitch because of what I feel. I have to refrain that. If you don't understand, that is what discipline is. That is planification, like wisdom says, what we've been studying. So then I speak to women, normal women. I was going to say something like this. Normal women. Normal, which in their normality, they open Facebook to show pictures, and they put pictures like this, like this, like that. Naked ones, they use their ass, their tits, their legs, and they try to look. When you look at a woman like that, she's a flower that is open, saying, come and pollinize me. So as to not say something else. Pollinize me. My time is here, and I am this much worth. If I go past the 30, 40, I'm going to be dressing saints. And who's going to want to pollinize that? No, now is the time. And that is the problem with humanity. I'm not saying it. It is a curse. It is a curse. Do we want to do away with the curse? Then break the rules. Break the rules. I hate the rules. That's why when I read the rules, that you have to be like this and you have to do that. There are rules that are spectacular, and some others, like the ones that Paul said, the woman to cover herself, the woman has to do this. Wow. If consciously you start to fight against what you desire, in fact, I'm going to advance to another point that I don't know if I should advance to it. Let's see. No, Leslie says. Leslie said no. Okay. I'll leave it there. But what I'm trying to say is, do not rush into getting married. The happiness is not found in looking for that male of your life. The match of your life is you. When you notice that you are valuable and not the union with someone else is what makes you gives you value. It's when this world starts to change. This world starts to change. So then we are speaking. Look, we're speaking at about a misogynist level, and a couple that gets divorced, whose husband or whose wife she should be. She shouldn't be anybody's wife. Let's start with that. So then I've answered that question already. I just answered that question about, I do not believe in the rules about, you got married and you have to stay married. The word in Spanish to get married is casar, which it could be hunting also. To marry someone is to hunt somebody. It just changes, instead of an S, a Z, but it sounds exactly the same way. Next question. As righteous judges, what would be the solution that we would give to these types of situations? Well, that is a part as judges. Righteous judges, I think I've given you part of the solution. It's enough with that union of two beings, that the two beings are one, and that they're not really one, they're two, and they fight, they hate each other. They end up getting divorced, they go with someone else, they go one with another, they get divorced and they die, so then one is left like that. They are one until he dies, because when he dies, it was one alone already, so then that concept, in my point of view, is no longer, it is part of the curse, it is part of the curse. I hope that you could understand me. I understood you perfectly well. So then that question is answered. 2. Hello, Christian, blessings. I have a question, which is the limit of caresses that a father or mother can give to his sons or daughters. For example, is it correct for a husband, for a father to touch her intimate parts or son as a caress, and even if they are adolescents, even more if they are adolescents? The question makes me laugh. The limit of caresses, the limit is placed by the parents. The limit, I don't know, say only touch one day, every 10 minutes. No. When they're children and they're babies, the parents or the mother can caress her son. She has to wash his ass and bathe him, evidently. If the mother still bathes her son, for example, then of course she has to touch them intimately, of course. When the child already takes his own bath, it's already time for the mother of the parents to caress him, but not on the intimate parts. They can caress their head, their back, embrace them, legs, but not their intimate parts, because that child can wash on his own and go to the bathroom on his own, so then the child does not need anything, just like that, anything. Zero caresses on the parts. And if they're adolescents, wow, that question is absolutely a no. The question is, can the mother or father touch the intimate parts of his adolescent daughter? No, not even if as a caress. Just like that, no. It says no, zero. You want to add something else, Leslie? That's fine. It's a no, zero. Just like that, no. But of course, there's kisses and hugs, but of course, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about intimate parts. Zero. Very well. Absolutely out of the question. Already, not just adolescence. When a child can already bathe on his own. When a child can bathe on its own, he no longer needs for the mother to touch or hold anything. Another question. It says, what about the days of the Mother, Father's Day, St. Valentine's, all those feasts that are celebrated in the different nations? You see all the types. The day of the father, dad, the mother, day of the work, a day of that, day of this, and day of that. Some say that they all have a pagan beginning like Christmas, but not we celebrate it. I think in a neutral way for now. What do you tell me about these celebrations? I say that every celebration that humans make themselves up, if they want to celebrate it, that's fine. Why is it fine? Because I go past that it was made up by the supermarkets to sell more, or that St. Valentine's was to sell chocolates, or the mother to make people buy gifts. No, I'll go past that. We as human beings, we need some sort of diversion, and we need some sort of fun, some distraction. So I like good traditions, and tell the truth, I could give a fuck what they say. Oh, this has a pagan seal. Not the very least. The only pagan one of anything is Yahweh. That is the most pagan situation of anything. So then it's at some point in time, if in a family or in a city or in a country, they make a certain day of a celebration and you like to celebrate it, celebrate it. If you don't like to celebrate, don't celebrate it. Let's say that in certain cities, it could be in different countries, like you've told me in Guatemala, there are certain celebrations of anything. Let's suppose the Day of the Virgin. Well, about the Virgin, it's a being that is dead. I don't celebrate anything. Let's suppose that is the Day of the Flowers because there's a harvest, Day of the Harvest in certain places, and I like to celebrate it, I go and celebrate it. It's not that it's right or wrong. It's not about rules if it's right or wrong. No, they're okay if you like them. And what you like to do it, do it. There's no restrictions. For example, in Mendoza, where I was born, there's a day that is called the Day of, I forgot, of the harvest. It is the harvest of the grape harvest of the wine. There's such of wine presses all over the place. So then they have a celebration in the city of Mendoza. They have. I was very little when I left Mendoza, but I remember that they make a procession on the street where they have cars and everybody in costume, kind of like the. What do they call the one of the roses? What do they call it? What do they call it? Like a carnival? But there are certain things. They make you, give you different wines to taste. It's beautiful. It's like a provincial. It's good to celebrate it. It's excellent to celebrate it. Excellent to celebrate it. So then it's enough to say, oh, this is satanic, that is pagan. We are not like that. We celebrate whatever we want. And if you like the St. Valentine's, fine. The Day of Mothers, different place. The Day of the Father, celebrate it. Like the Day of the Monkey, celebrate it. That's it, it's over. Of course, that's it. Of course, it's over. Very well. So then everything is absolutely fine. 4. Beloved Christian, many thanks for answering every one of the questions and the time dedicated. I want to consult about tithe. I have a doubt. In a video you mentioned that if you have a company, you should tithe upon what is left about earnings. That is to say, about not about the profit, but actually the utilities. The same thing is applied. This is a question. Is the same thing applied when you have a salary? Let's say if you earn 1,000 and then they take their social security, and then the person has other things like food and everything, and at the end they have 400 left. Under these 400, is that where he should tithe upon? I understood that the tithe was on the income. In the case with the salary, I understand that is from the 1,000, or all we would think that we're giving of what is left over. Is that so? Can you clarify that? Once again, Semper Fi, and greetings to everyone. Okay, let me answer this question, but first, let us see if we have any likes. How many likes have we? We have 238 likes. There's a lot of misogynists in this world. I want to see for there to be more than 253 likes. We have 253 watching. We lost 20 misogynists watching. And many women were shocked too. So then another 20. How shameful if the whole world were to listen to preaching of the eternal truth and they were willing to understand it and listen. They would say, wow, a whole world would speak of it, but the mind is not ready for that. But those that are give or take prepared, we have even less and less. Well, the likes are going up, and remember, don't forget to comment. Do not, I love your comments. There is a comment that they wrote, which I would like to answer. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Let me see if I find it. Let's see if I find it. And it's about this subject. They told me, you finally understand that Satan is the devil. Somebody wrote that to me. Was it the previous one or the previous one before that? Do you remember that? If it was the previous one, the last one, or the previous one? Which one was it? It must be the last one, right? Okay, let's see. Comments. There was this one that I'd like to answer. I didn't answer there because I'm not going to waste time writing to him. But if somebody remembers that they wrote. Let's see if I find it. I'd like to read it. It upset me what they commented.
Me dio bronca
Let's see.
el comentario.
No one knows what I'm talking about, right? I'm not reading. Leslie, no one knows what I'm talking about? No, let's ask something. If somebody has ever saw a comment that says, you finally noticed that Yahweh is Satan. That's where the stupid shit starts.
Un comentario que decían, por fin te diste cuenta que Yahweh es Satanás. Y ahí empieza la pendejada.
I'm not sure. I'm looking at the previous subject. Maybe it was the previous one. You have to tell me what subject it was on. So I'd like to read it. Even if I don't answer, doesn't mean I agree. Somebody answer anything, Les? Did I read the comments then? Somebody that said, you finally noticed that Yahweh was Satan. That's how he started. But it's not that. It's not that finally I noticed. It upset me. It's from the previous subject. That's the one I'm looking for. We've noticed that many, many years ago. Of course. It was not the previous one, right? Last Shabbat? The one previous, the more 14? Previous one? The more 14, right? Where was it? Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? 6 days ago. What's it say? Or go ahead and give it to me, or else they won't understand it. Just pass me the link through Facebook. Yeah, you can post it in the chat. It's in the past, right? You said? Unto the 4 demons, you said? Maybe he was kidding. That's perfect. No, that's no problem. Did you give it to me? Francisco Lopez says that the Queen of the South is the one that used to say that. Yeah, I remember. Oh, no, well. Did you give me the link? Via Facebook? It's in the chat. Okay, and it's in the chat. Okay, then in the chat. Yeah, post it there in the chat. 5 days ago, let's see if 6 days ago? Maybe I'll find it this way. 3 days, 6 you said, right? Very well. It's been 6 days ago. Oh. It upsets me how difficult it is to find something here, yes. Okay, we are, okay. How did it start? It says, hello, Christian. Oh, I found it. User SK411 and data. Says, hello, Christian. Finally, you say, of course, Yahweh is Satan, the one that. No, first of all, ignorant fool. It's not that finally you say, of course, and the fucking bitch that bore you, you fucking liar, whoever the fuck you are. It's been 3 years ago that I've been teaching that Yahweh is Satan. It's not now. It is not about now. So then what the stupid shit is for you to say, oh, now you say, of course. I've always said it very clearly. Oh, well, then you're the idiot that are barely listening now. Not that I said it. You should have said, finally, now I hear. Okay. That hinders. I never said that he hinders us, but that he places us in this creation. Then the stupid shit comes later. It is the God of the heavens, and then it says that the birds that fly in. First, learn to write. This means that Yahweh is the God of the air. Those that killed Stephen. I mean, that's stupid shit. You have to be a completely mental enema to say that Stephen denounced anything. First of all, Stephen was a complete idiot, and they stoned him because he was an idiot. That's first of all. Second of all, the stupid shit that he said. I see that the father. I don't have words about what happened with that idiot. If it's true. Look, if it's true, the story of Stephen, that I even doubt it, that it's real, because I think that he's a complete idiot. Yes, Stephen, the one that was stoned, and that when he was dying, he said, I see the Father and the Son. The fuck did Stephen say? And that supposedly Paul of Tarsus, or Saul of Tarsus, was there, taking care of the clothes of the people. That, and it's an idiot like Stephen says, I see the Father and the Son. It's enough to stone him. That was enough to stone him for being a liar, just like that, for being a liar. Let's go to the book of Acts, let's read it. Already that stupid comment right there of stupid people. I think that they don't even have two mental cells because they can't read something and not even write, because I'm not blaming. What I'm blaming is not thinking correctly or logically. Because what he's saying is something complete rubbish, where it says that the birds fly in the sky. It means that God is the God of the air. How stupid! You have to be completely abnormal with your brain being a little bit less than a Chihuahua dog to get to that conclusion. That Yahweh is the God of the air, and good thing they killed. Did Stephen denounce that Yahweh? Wow, absolutely wow. Why are there people that have their mind that are so twisted, completely stupid? It's like stupid. It's not that they're making. It's just stupid. Their mind is. I cannot talk to stupid people because, of course, I can't. I go crazy. So then Stephen was killed because he denounced him. Wow. Saying that before stoning him, he said that the people of Israel had received the law via angels or fallen angels, not of God. Or even said to say of the. Can someone believe that Stephen denounced his people and saying, look, the Torah was given by the fallen angels? No, absolutely not. When they said that the Torah was kind of given by angels, it's referring to clearly through messengers, and the first of which was Moses. He finished writing it. Then when it talks about the Torah, not only, I want you to understand this, because then if you don't understand this, you don't understand it from the Jewish mind. The Torah is not just the 5 books of Moses. The Torah for a Jew is the entire Tanakh. And they speak about the Tanakh, they speak about Psalms, they speak about Proverbs, they speak about Isaiah. It's all about, I know that the Torah specifically are the Pentateuch, the first books of Moses, but the word Torah
significa
means
instrucción.
instruction. So
Entonces,
then the
la
instruction,
ellos usan la
they
palabra
use the word Torah for the whole entire
Ni siquiera usan la
Tanakh.
palabra Tanakh
They don't
para
even say
decir,
Tanakh
no,
to
está
say,
escrito en la Torah.
no, this is written in the Tanakh, in the Torah, and it was written by David. I'm explaining, just so you know. So then, Stephen, what he's saying here, he did not denounce that Torah of Moses was given by Satan. So he didn't denounce that. So then, what delirious mind could get to that conclusion right there? So then it says, God, it's better to say of the hosts, and I'm reading it, trying to understand what the fuck he said. With the hosts of heaven and the air, that is why Yahweh acts like the devil, as if, to top it off, they have that imperious need for somebody to listen to them, that they have the truth. As if man were his enemy, it's not clear to them when Isaiah, this sounds, I've never heard. My Spanish is not so wide. When Isaiah, and then speaking without, it's not spelled correctly. This such bad grammar writing this in Spanish, and that inscribed sacrifices. It was these hosts of I don't know what Bible you read, because they start saying that Isaiah is saying that the true God didn't ask for sacrifice. But I'm saying I need something to really calm me down when I'm before a stupid mind. Really stupid mind. As it turns out, Isaiah, who is Jewish, he denounces that the devil himself, because that same Yahweh that denounces, the one that spoke to Abraham, that brought him out of Ur of the Chaldeans, that took him to the promised land, that made him have a child miraculously, and that child had another child, and that child, Jacob, had the 12 tribes of Israel. Something. This stupid people, brainless, it says that it was the devil who did this. So then when it gets to Isaiah, it says the one that made them do sacrifices was God, the devil. Now they have to listen to the good God. What a stupid mind. I can't believe it. I mean, these people, okay. I don't even know why I read this stupid shit. It's comments from stupid people. There's no logic. You cannot even answer that. You cannot even answer that. And not just that. All those that make videos saying that Isaiah denounces the true God, or the fake God, because let me tell you the way it is. Many people like this, they believe that Isaiah and other prophets were denouncing Yahweh as being the devil, and they would make it be understood that they worked for Jesus, who was to come in the future. So then, the devil, Yahweh, made him do sacrifices. And when Jesus came, the true son of the true one, not of Yahweh, then Jesus came and told him, yes, you worship your father Satan, but I come to rescue you. You see when it says that you're sons of your father the devil, so then they take all those texts and they say Jesus came to rescue them from Yahweh. But I mean, what does Jesus get into the story of another God? Because if that Yahweh is a God, why does another God have to get over to free them from another God? And that says that he's the son of another good God. But I mean, this mind, and if it's one with the good God, not with the bad God. Oh, back in 2018, more than 3 years ago. Oh yeah. That explanation of Azazel, yes, exactly. But we have it in the other subjects. What's it called? In Rumble? In Odyssey. Rumble and Odyssey, we have all the videos, and we have those. We have those, Azazel. So then, I'm not even going to continue reading. It makes my head hurt when we start to speak with stupid shit that Isaiah was denouncing Yahweh. Wow, that Stephen. I was going to read something about Stephen. I could care less. What happened? Not the very least. Not in the very least. They killed him because he was an idiot. Oh yeah, I wanted to read that part. Yeah, I wanted to read that part about Stephen. Wow. Book of Acts, chapter 7, reads as follows. I'll speak in Spanish DHH. Stephen says, I'm reading from number 51 and on, is what I wanted to read. But you, this is Stephen, says, ye, the Jews, stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Holy Ghost, as your fathers did. So do ye. Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? And they have slain them which showed before of the coming of the just one, of whom ye have been now the betrayers and murderers, who have, and I disagree. Careful. All those messianic prophecies, no. They're not just like that. You who have received the law by the disposition of angels is through messengers. It is the law. First of them all is Moses. The rest, those who explained it, and the rest, that's the way it is. You who have received the law by disposition of angels and have not kept it. When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth. But he, being full of the Holy Ghost, looked up steadfastly into heaven and saw the glory of God, and Jesus standing on the right hand of God. Right there, I want to grab some stones. Right there. The same vision of Ellen G. White is the vision that he saw in the delirium of Stephen. Look, that God has to come and tell me, yeah, Christian, he saw it because I had mercy on that idiot. They were going to kill him, that idiot. He was starting to speak where he shouldn't. He didn't learn anything from me. So then they thought they were the messengers, and they had that fire to speak. They didn't know how to even to speak. They only knew how to look for problems. So then because I had mercy on this fucking idiot of Stephen, that's what he could say. He says, what a stupid Jew. Who had him speak in my name to say the stupid shit he's saying? Well, I'll give him a little vision that he sees what he believes, to see God in a being that is not God, and Jesus next to him. So then he saw that and died in peace. I give him that vision. God would have to tell me that he gave him that mission. Otherwise, I know that he didn't see anything, that in his mind, which was protecting humanity in an extreme situations like these, they could see things that do not exist, and what he believed in, he saw because his adrenaline was there. He thought he was the Messiah. When they start to speak, look, I hate, listen well, I hate the preachers that preach on the street, that raise their Bible and they start to speak, for Jesus says, repent, my brother. I want to kick them in their balls and in their ass, take the Bible and strike them in the head with it. In Argentina, they would get on the bus. My brother, you have to repent. I don't want to listen to you. Shove the Bible up your ass. Just like that, all the Christians tell them, look, all the Christians that raise the Bible in the street to speak, you clowns. You want people to see you, and that is the problem this man had. What the fuck did Stephen have to talk about? For God to come and do his work. If I'm speaking to you now, it's because you want to listen. Or else, and if I'm in your homes, it is because you want to enter into my home. Because I'm not in your homes. You have to look for me. You have to click on something and say, I want to listen to Christian. Because or else, you can really fuck off. I would never
Jamás me pondría en un
in a
banco.
bank listen. No,
Escúcheme, hermano,
don't listen to
ninguna
shit.
mierda.
The,
Escuche,
whoever wants to
escuche el
listen
que quiera
want to
escuchar.
listen. But Stephen
Pero
had that
Esteban tenía
conflict,
ese conflicto. El
the
conflicto
messianic
del
conflict
mesianismo,
of being
de ser
a
mesianí, de ser
Messiah,
un
just like
mesías,
it's had
como lo
by
tienen
the
los
preachers
predicadores en las
on the
calles.
streets that
Que se
have to
ponen a
speak,
hablar,
that have that
tienen
need
esa necesidad de
to
salvarte,
save you,
de
that you're
salvarte, que tú eres un
you're a sinner.
pecador.
That conflict is
Ese
had by
conflicto lo
many.
tienen muchos.
That's what Stephen
Ese
had,
tenía
and that
Esteban.
conflict took
Y
him
ese conflicto lo
to
llevó a que lo
be
apedrearan. Si yo
stoned. If I
hubiera
had
estado
been
ahí
there
y
and I
escucho decir, yo
hear him say, I
necesito
see
ver
the
al
Father and Son,
Padre, al Hijo,
yeah, I
me
want to stone to
martiriando
death
también.
too.
Y me sentiría
And
muy
I will
bien,
feel
¿me
well
entiendes?
doing it
Porque
because
no
he's
hay
a liar,
nadie en
because
el
there's
cielo,
no
un
Father
Padre
and
y un
Son
Hijo.
in heaven. So
Entonces,
then
lo
they stone him
apedrearon
to
bien a
death.
Esteban.
Very well, very
Muy
well.
bien.
So what's
Entonces
about
dice, ¿qué
Stephen
dice
says,
Esteban?
look,
Miren, dice.
I
Pero
see
los
the
cielos
heavens open and
abiertos y
the
al
Son of
Hijo del
Man
Hombre a
and
la
to the right
derecha de
hand
Dios.
of God. That's a lie.
Pero ellos
But
se
they covered their
taparon los
ears
oídos y dando
and
fuertes
they
gritos se
all
lanzaron todos contra
launched
él.
themselves
Lo
against him.
sacaron de
They
la
took him out
ciudad
of the
y lo
city and
apedrearon.
stoned him.
Los que hacían de testigos contra él dejaron sus ropas al cuidado de un joven llamado Saulo.
They
Ahí
cried
lo
out with a
encontramos
loud
con
voice and
Saulo.
stopped their ears. They
Mientras
cast him
lo
out,
apedreaban,
and they put their
Esteban
clothes
oró
at a young
diciendo,
man's feet whose name
Señor
was
Jesús,
Saul. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon God and saying,
recibe mi
Lord
espíritu.
Jesus, receive my spirit.
Luego
And
se
then he
puso de
kneeled down
rodillas
and
y
cried
gritó
with a
con
loud
voz
voice.
fuerte.
There you see
Ahí te
the
das cuenta el
messianic
espíritu
spirit
mesiánico
that
que
the guy
tenía
had,
Esteban.
because what he's about to
Porque lo
say,
que va a decir ahora,
he says, Lord,
dice, Señor,
lay not
no
this sin
tomes
to
en
their
cuenta
charge.
este pecado.
And when he had said this, he
Habiendo
fell
dicho
asleep.
esto, murió. Y Saulo estaba allí
And Paul
dando
was
su
there,
aprobación a la
consenting
muerte
unto his
de
death.
Esteban.
It's all
Es una red
a
de
whole net
ridiculez.
of
Así, una red de
ridiculousness.
ridiculez. Esteban no era
Stephen
nadie.
wasn't
Esteban no
anyone.
tenía ni
He
por
didn't
qué
even
dar
have to give
testimonio
any
en la
testimony
locura.
about anything, and even less
Y menos en la
in the
calle.
street. If somebody wanted
Si
to
era
ask
un
him, they could have
director
asked
local, él
him.
le podría haber dicho.
You can tell me,
Usted me
no, if
puede
it
decir,
weren't for people
no,
like
si no fuera
that,
por gente así,
if it weren't
si
because
no
of these
fuera
people
por estas
that give their
personas que dan el
testimonies
testimonio
with everything,
con todo,
the
no
message
se
would
hubiera
not have been
repartido
spread
el
out.
mensaje.
You can think
Lo
whatever
puede
you
pensar
want.
de la forma que usted quiera.
That's fine.
Está muy bien.
But the message
Pero el
was not
mensaje no se repartió a los gritos. Para nada. El mensaje
given
lo
by
repartió Roma.
that. It was
Porque
given by Rome. When
cuando
Rome
Roma se
became
convirtió al
Christian and they
cristianismo,
incorporated that
incorporó
religion,
esa religión,
they said,
ellos
this is
dijeron,
the
"Esta es la
official religion of the
oficial del
state
Estado.
and the religion
Y la religión
of
oficial
every
de
place
cada
that we're going to
lugar que vamos a
conquer.
conquistar.
Conquer
Vamos a
America,
conquistar
let's go
América,
with the
vamos
Virgin
con la
Mary.
Virgen
And that's
María.
it.
Y se acabó.
And it
Y
wasn't
no
just
fue por
because of
predicar en
preaching
las
in the
calles,
street.
¿eh?
No, it was by law.
Fue
It was
por
by
ley.
law.
Así fue por ley.
Now,
Ahora,
those who
los que
dominate the
dominan el
world,
mundo
they don't
no predican
preach
nunca.
in the street. There's no need to preach in the street.
No hace falta predicar en las
Very
calles.
well.
Bien.
Wisdom
La
does
sabiduría
preach
sí
in the
predica en
streets,
la
but
calle.
what does it
Pero
preach?
¿qué predica?
It preaches
Predica
wisdom in every
sabiduría en
aspect. I've
todos
already told
aspectos.
you.
Ya les dije a
In
ustedes,
every
en todos
situation,
lados
you
ustedes ven
see
la sabiduría que te
the
habla, no de
wisdom
religión,
speaking to you, not about
de
religion
mu-
precisely,
de
but
todo
about
lo que
everything
ves,
that you see.
de todo lo que ves.
And we're going to
Vamos a
one day
tratar
touch
de
on
esos
those
temas
subjects
muy
again.
bien.
Okay, very well.
Entonces,
Where were we? Oh,
¿de qué
what
vamos?
was the
¿A qué
question?
pregunta?
Okay, the question is,
La pregunta es,
nope.
no.
Mm.
Mi
You
voz
hear
se
an
escucha
echo?
con eco.
Oh, don't tell me.
No me digan.
Ever
Pero
since
desde
now or
ahora
since
o desde
before?
antes.
I believe it's been from before. I'm asking everyone, do you hear my voice with an echo, or is it like every Shabbat?
Porque,
One said that you can hear it very well. That comment on YouTube is completely out of place, saying, oh, you finally noticed that Yahweh is Satan and because of Stephen, and this makes no sense. Don't pay attention to them. I didn't want to delete it.
Y porque se dio cuenta Esteban también, no tiene ningún sentido. No le presten atención. No lo quise borrar.
It was not an attack towards me, so I didn't want to delete it. But actually, it talks about that there's not a good neuroanal connection here, not a good connection.
Hay cables cruzados, la mayoría. Hay térmicas que saltaron, tapones que saltaron y se hicieron un reruteo y hay varias constelaciones.
They have various
Entonces, cuando leen
constellations.
la Biblia, leen eso.
And so that is what they see when they read the Bible. There's not the correct way of interpreting, so then there is not even worth it to comment anymore. Right here. But now let's go about the question about the tithes that they asked me. The question about the tithes, it's very easy to answer. There are two situations when I speak about a company and about employees. But in the same way, it's the same thing. Why? It's so. If I have a company, for example, and in that company I produce $10,000 a month. Of those $10,000 a month, I deduct that from the company. To have a company, I paid Social Security, this much about license fees, and a whole bunch more, and a whole bunch more in materials, and I spent in cell phone, in the company cell phone, all those types of things, which I have to add everything, which is all the expenditures of the company during that time period, let's say a month. So then I say I sold or I received this much money because of the product, and I deduct everything that I spent during that month, even about tools, and only that. I'll leave that, as I don't want to get into that subject, because also the tools are part of the earning, everything that I spent for that job. And let's suppose that let's say I earned $10,000, and out of everything that I spent for that whole month was $5,000. So then I have $5,000. Do I have to give tithes out of those $5,000? Well, this is the situation. Not even should you mix what you receive from the company. Let me explain this a little bit more so you understand. If you have a company, let's say company, it doesn't have to be a big one. It has to be an intelligent one. If I do the math with everything that I earned, and I have 5,000 earning out of the company, there is where I'll decide how much I will get for my personal use. If you, from your company, you don't do that, that company, either it'll never grow or it'll self-destruct, because you always have to take out the least as possible for you, and leave in the company so that the company has enough money and to reinvest and to be able to grow. You cannot take out everything that you earn from the company and that's your earning. No, it's not your earning. You'll have to give yourself a salary. So then, if that month you have a $5,000 earning, you say, well, I'll use $2,000 as salary, pay myself. That is your own salary, like an employee, even if the company is yours. And you leave $3,000 in the company. Well, here are two things. Out of those 3,000, I said 2,000, out of those 2,000 that you took out for yourself, there you're going to tithe before spending anything, of course. If you, in your mind, you don't give tithe, so then you're going to buy everything, and then for the tithe, I don't have enough. No. Out of those 2,000, before paying, let's suppose you paid for your medical aid or life insurance. Let's suppose, what else did you say here? Social Security. What was that? Let's say you play for a niche because you're looking for a place, because in case something happens to you, so then you add all those things. You say, out of what's left for me, it's where I paid my tithe. No. That, food, all the electricity, everything, all the utilities, that, you have to pay for it after taking out the tithe. The tithe is first before you even pay a peso to yourself. And if you're going to send money to your mother before taking out the tithe, so then you take the tithes out. In this case, you took $2,000 for you. So then you grab from the $2,000, you take $200 out as tithe. And if you, out of those people that understand things, you take another $200 and you put it away for feasts, if you understand these things. But let's not mention the second tithe. You take $200 out, and then you have 1,800 left, and from there is when you start to pay for everything else, from sending money to your mom, to your niche, your life insurance, your medical insurance, to pay for the food, everything. After the tithe. Now, what happened with the $3,000 that were left in the company? If you want to leave them already as part of the company and like earning of the company, you have to take a tithe out because the companies also pay tithes. Then after those 3,000, if you want to leave it as a capital, liquid or active assets of the company, so then what a person does, or a Jew or whoever that believes in God, those who believe in tithes, they take out of those $3,300, and you take $3,000 out of the 300 out of that, and then free from tithe in the company, it's already tithe, and it is capital of the company. Whatever is left after that, out of the capital of the company, you don't give tithes, but of the earnings. But to pass it from earnings to capital, you have to first give your tithe. Did you understand what I'm saying? Okay, it's simple. It's simple, very simple. One thing is, so then he asks, and about, he says, in a video you mentioned that if a person has a company, they should tithe upon what is left from income. Of course, the earning of the company, that is to say, upon the utilities, not upon the sales income, or what comes in. The same thing is applied when you have a salary with an employer. Now, it's not the same thing. Why is it not the same thing? Because it is applied exactly the same when you grab money from the company, which is an entity. It's not you. That company, you pay yourself a salary. That's why you're the employee of the company. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's easy to understand. How can you, if a company which functions based on a sale or a service, of course you have to take out all the material, discount them, because you're going to calculate the earnings, and you cannot pay tithes upon the whole complete situation that you sold, because maybe you're selling a service that is worth $10,000, but you pay $7,000 for that, and you're going to earn only $3,000. But you gave $10,000. You have to take from the $7,000. It's easy to understand. We're really going around the bush too much. You have to deduct. I made a parenthesis in tools. Why is that? Because the tools, of course, you can tithe them. Why? Because if a guy says, which of course, when there's the law, then you make, there's a loophole. In order to not give tithes, let's reinvest anything. Let's say $10,000 is what I have. $10,000 is what I sold, and I have $5,000 earnings. Says for me, I'm not going to take anything. So then I'm not going to give tithes because I already have enough to live from something else. So I'm not going to spend anything. I'll put the $5,000 back into the company. But of course, if I leave him as income, then I have to put 500 tithes. What do I do then? Oh, what I could do is say that there's 5,000 that I buy tools and I buy other things, and it's just expenditure, and I won't pay any tithes because everything that I earn, I grow. Instead of this, I'll buy a car for the company. I'll buy a car, and it's already part of the company. So then that car is good to work, and when I earn more, I'll buy more cars, and that is how we grow. And the tithe, no, there's no tithe because I invest anything back in, and I spend everything in the company. That's what I was trying to show here. Anything that is about growing in the company is tithable. The company can grow and can receive the blessing from Elohim in what you invest. And if it has been tithe, if I earn 10,000 and I sold 10,000 and I earned 5,000, I'm not going to use anything for me, and I'll reinvest it. I have to take the 500, use them, take the tithe out, and what's left, then I can buy a car, tools, and everything. It's already tithed. The biggest problem is when you have an associate that does not want to give tithes, or they're not a believer, or doesn't want to give tithe. So then we have a society half and half. Listen to this: a society an associate, and that, once again, let's say we earn $10,000 in the month in that period of time. 5,000 were expenditures, and then we have 5,000 for both of us, and the guy says, okay, 2,500 for you, 2,500 for me, that's enough. Or else the company will never grow. We have to leave money in the company. So then he says 1,000 for you and 1,000 for me, and we leave 3,000 in the company out of the two. The guy says, yeah, but if I leave it, I have to give tithes. I'm going to take $150 from there. The guy says, no, you're not going to take anything out. 3,000 is both of us. You understand what I'm saying? Or is it confusing? 3,000 is both of us. You're not going to touch anything because you take 150, then I have to take 150, and then leave 3,000 there. So then that wants to give tithes, what does he do in that situation? There's no other situation than to do this. Out of your 1,000 that you took out, which is your own salary, you take the appropriate tithe from there. And then the 150 of the 1,500 that you have there, it's as if you invested once again in the company. So then you have to pay the tithe from your own pocket out of those 150, not from the company, but from your own pocket. And so then from your own pocket, you put $150, which is what you reinvested in the company. Do you understand that in the company, if there were 5,000 in earnings, both of them could have taken 2,500, both of them, right? It's associate, the one that tithes and the one that doesn't. So then that's it. But if the guy says, let's leave 1,500 each, we have 3,000 here. It's the same thing as if you reinvested in the company. Your part, not that of the other guy, your part has to be tithed. So then if you leave that part, you have the responsibility of paying the $100 of the $10 of the $1,000 that you received, the 150 of the part that you left in the company, and the other 150 of your associate. You don't have to pay that because it's his part. It's his half. You understand what I'm saying? Did you understand that, or are there questions about this? Easy to understand, right? Very well. Easy to understand. If he wants to know about tithe, those are give and take the rules about what a tithe is, which would be applied exactly if it was like a tax. With taxes, you cannot deduct tools. The government says, no, you buy all the tools you want, but the earnings, those are not tools. I know that in that trap that other people that do taxes with companies, they would do as much as possible so as to not pay taxes. But the more earnings you have, the more you have to pay. So then it's going to put anything on there. But if they audit it, they say this that you put here, that is not deductible. But since they're tools are not deductible. That's capital. That's capital earning. You have to pay unless they would demonstrate that you needed those tools, and it was a tool that could be destroyed, and it was just for that job. That was for that job, and that without that tool you could not do that job. And then after that, that tool that is discarded, that is where you can add it, or else not. All the government says pay for the taxes, and then buy everything, tools, whatever you want. But first you pay me. That's give or take the way tithes work. Very well. So then, another question. It says, let me ask you a question. Is that eternal truth anti-Zionist? What questions are these? We're in the fun questions. We're in the questions, and it's been 2 hours 23. In wisdom, because I've spoken many things to you today that you're going to have to digest. That many people didn't like this, what I heard what I said, and I spoke careful. I speak about the girls, okay, do not get married. The boys also, because the girls, all they want is to entrap a man, to trap a man, and the idiot goes, just like Proverbs says, the man goes, the idiot, he's walking like that, and he falls in the trap of the women. Be careful. But what I'm saying, careful with what I'm saying. Do not fall into the need. Don't give in to the need. You have to rethink things. If in your path you find that flower or that prince, and you are in love, and you have plans together, and you have the things that you understand clearly, that's something else. I never spoke about that. I said I take out what true love is. Even that it's mixed with this, because if there's no true love in a couple, if there's no sexual attraction, they have to differentiate what is complete, pure sexual attraction that leaves girls pregnant, that destroys lives. That's what I'm referring to. Of the pure need to get married, just like that need to get married, no matter, or the house, to escape the house, or escape a situation, or because I want to satisfy something that I don't understand what it is. So then that is what I'm speaking about. Never did I go against forming a couple that is very well established. For example, in my case. But of course, I measure my own case with lots in the world. I don't want to offend anybody. And of course, it's not the same. It's not the same. And if it's not the same, it is because there's a different planning, just a different planning. Do I believe that love is true? Do I believe in true love? Yes, of course. But true love between a couple is born out of the sexual attraction. It is not born from just saying, I want to be with a woman, and the woman says, I want to be with a man. No. No. It's not born out of that. That does not exist. What does exist is an attraction and a curse. Your desire shall be unto the husband, and the husband shall be the authority over you. He may have authority over you. That does exist. And if you want to fight against that, then you have to really understand, when you form a couple, which are your motives. Which are your motives? Because you confuse or almost everything. I don't want to be so drastic or definitive. Almost all confuse love with just sexual desire, and they call love just a hormonal state. That's what they call love, a hormonal state. I am in love, my blueprints. And it turns out he was not a blueprint or anything. And that falling in love with didn't last. And then we have the couples that they're like, why did I get married? Why did I get married to you? And they have children, and it's all ruined. Look, completely ruined. The mother didn't want to be a mother, the father wanted to be a father, and then we have the other cases that the man, with just wanting to trap a girl, he gets her pregnant. That way it's hers. I mean, it's enough to disappear from this world. What do you mean that? Because I want her? Oh, that is to submit. Why does man says that woman has to be mine? How hard? What a horrible definition. I mean, they say, oh, you're mine. Oh, how beautiful and romantic. What do you mean? Why do we have to be the property of another person? For what reason? And for a woman to come and say, that man is mine? No, fuck off. To the fucking mother that fucking, I don't belong to you or anyone. If we were to think that way, then we would be a lot more careful when we were forming a couple. What am I teaching? That the whole world, in a collective matter, goes in that situation. That's why now the women almost don't want to get married, and the couples almost don't want to have children, and that's what's happening, because there is something collective in a collective conscience that is growing, and the women, they want to be something. They don't no longer want to be the housewife that's subjugated to a husband that says, you are my property. She doesn't want that. She would want to have her own property. And if the woman is able to achieve a little bit of a property, then, oh, mama mia, she's never going to submit to any guy. She's never going to submit. It's kind of like she's developed. When you see it, you can no longer go back to the blindness once again. And when Adam and Eve, they saw that they were naked, they could not act stupid anymore. When the woman starts to have freedom is when the woman starts to really value herself as a being, not as the possession of some guy. And I know that the woman needs, I'm going to say something rubbish for women. I know that the woman needs, if it's rubbish it's rubbish. It is rubbish that I would not want to say it, but psychology is like this. This is the psychology placed by God himself, mind you. I'm not going to say the woman. I'm going to say certain women, they feel happy when they are possessed. Let me question why. Why do women feel happy and she gets to her state of, or her goal or mission in life, being possessed? Why? 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 And if they're not possessed by someone that's valuable, it's as if they're not valuable. They don't feel well. I want to be possessed by someone. And men, certain men, not all, most, they have to possess. You're my possession. That is why the jealousy, they enter into play. You're my possession. And women, maybe they rebel. They don't want to be possessed. And they start to say, well, that's only enough. And then the man starts to hit him to show him who's the owner. It's the same thing. Hitting a woman is the same thing as Paul says. If the mark, then the woman has to have a mark that all of a sudden they're saying, no. In the head, you have to cover her head for them to know that she's a possession of the man. That definition is enough to put any Christian's hair stand up on the. A woman should not be anyone's possession. She would have to be her own possession. But in this fucking curse of Yahweh, the woman feels happy when she's possessed by some guy. And she feels happy because it's a law that he placed inside. And she'll be happy because your desire shall be unto your husband. So then the woman, in her psychology, without thinking, feels happiness and satisfaction when when she's possessed by her husband. I'm not talking about sex, mind you. If you thought I was talking about sex, you're wrong. Possession is that I am the wife of, that I get married and she is my wife and she has to go next to me, and the guy presents himself and the wife has to be next to him. She's the possession. She has to show her, like the president. You're never going to see the wife of the president speaking, but he has to have like a trophy, like the possession. There's no equality or anything. Because the president is the president and the woman is just sitting there. And you know, it's not like she's the first lady. What the fuck is the first lady? She's no one in this society. She's no one. But they have to show her off. She's my possession. Just like Trump would show Melania is my possession. And the most beautiful, the better. The younger, the better. The day that the woman starts to revert that, she'll revert wickedness. The woman has to not be a possession of anyone. Just imagine in ancient times, it was just as that they had to take even her panties to show to the Kohen Gadol for him to authorize, and then the priest had to baptize her. Because she was a complete garbage and complete obsession, even lower than a house. You shall not covet the house of thy neighbor or the woman of thy neighbor. It's part of the curse, and God Elohim wants for us to notice. If the Messiah does not notice that, the Messiah is a machista. If the Messiah does not notice that, then the Messiah will say, no, from here on out, just imagine, all that want to be a Messiah, that up until now, there has been, they come with the whole discourse that God created man and woman in the house, and the woman is the company, the help, and all that dog shit, and it's his possession. So then with that messianic idea, the woman will never be anything in history of this earth, never, ever. She'll always be the possession of the man, until the woman says no. Equality, exact equality, is not the possession of anybody. And if they want more equality, they don't have to be one. There you have equality. As long as the woman says, I am this, and takes my mom's name, they take the last name. The position was very well marked. Evangelina de Silva. She was Torto. Her maiden name was Torto. But that name, when she gets married to my dad didn't take the name Storto. My dad didn't take Mr. His name was Ezekiel Agustin Storto. No. Ezequiel is that's torto, even worse. My mom was Evangelina de possession of Silva. That's the way it is. Like a car, just like a house, like anything. They even changed their name. Am I against all that? I mean, those are the rules placed by Yahweh. They cannot, under any aspect, it cannot be the messianic rule. The woman cannot live under the shadow or the possession of the husband. She cannot, just like that. She cannot. Under those circumstances, the woman will not be. She stays in the no. Fuck off with that rule. That rule you can fuck off with it. No, because she has. I remember when Armando from here, a misogynist, even more than he didn't even notice, nor did the people notice. He would say, no. The 144,000 are men, and the women are going to stay at home, he said. Here in front of everyone, he would say, I'm going to marry a queen, and the queen's going to reign. No, she's going to stay at home. She's going to reign at home. And I would say, Armando, you can't be such an imbecile, because tell the truth. Either would he, or would he not argue with me? I could. No, there's no misogynist or any extremist. Here we have people which the Messiah will fight, that every human being will be independent. Not dependent or another, just like that, independent, or what you're listening to, independent. He'll never be a God then. He'll never be a God. And he wants to join another, then for there to be complete equality. Equality. Not that there be a pre-established role. The woman has to be left in the nest. If the woman does not stay in the nest, then she will produce effects in the children. Effects in the children, and the children need the care of the woman. The father can fuck off and leave. He can work outside, have fun with his friends, his girlfriends. As long as he brings the bacon, but the woman next, and the women and the children from held on to the skirt of the mother. That has to change, or else the woman will never be equal. Then there's always going to be a difference. The macho says you feed the children. No, the man could also feed them, just like that. Minto or Nelson. You see Nelson, between Audrey and Nelson, they can feed him between both of them. Exactly. But now the man says, no, that is your job. I'm going to go and work outside. Tell the truth, how fun it is to go and work outside. As a man, I say it. Women, they have to stay stuck at home, and the man goes and works. And to top it off is, how difficult I've been working. Now it's so fun to fuck off out of the house. Just like that, to drive, to feel the freedom, to leave all the tasks of the home, to leave them, and for the woman to deal with it, and then I'll go and work, and then later I'll come, and then I act like I'm so tired, everything, and I have her serve me. That's what she's there for. And says, and I feed you. Yeah, because I'm the one that works. The woman is not below, but she's completely below. She is underfoot. She's completely underfoot. For what reason is that? Because Yahweh said, your desire shall be unto the man, and the man will have lordship over you. That's it. You want to change that? Don't get married. Don't get married. Don't get married. That is the solution. It is the solution that many could have. I understand that, but we can start to work with that, in that. And of course, maybe we might not be in agreement. Nobody even listens to me. How many are listening to me? What mentality am I going to change in humanity? If all of humanity, that's what I'm getting at. There is a conscience. If right now all of humanity were to say we're not going to get married anymore nor have any more children, I can assure you that Elohim quickly would do away with this phase. Whoa, that was too
Eso fue muy parcial.
partially spoken. A woman
Mujer
tells
me
me, you're
dice que
speaking
está
as a
hablando como un
man,
hombre.
but how many men
¿Cuántos
speak
hombres
like
hablan como
me?
yo?
Oh, well then,
Entonces,
of course I'm
claro que
speaking
te
like a
hablo
man.
como hombre.
I'm just
Yo
saying you're
hablo como
speaking
hombre
as a
y
man.
ustedes
If you had
escuchan
both
como
sexes,
hombres o
then
mujeres. Según
I'm
como
speaking as a man, of course, evidently. Everyone will listen to however they want to listen, exactly.
Exacto.
Leslie
Y tiene
is right,
razón,
I'm speaking as a
yo hablo
man.
como hombre. Como
Since
mi
my point of
punto de
view as a
vista
man,
de
I am
hombre,
given
estoy
that
dando esa
perception. It's
percepción. Es
true.
verdad,
Absolutely,
absolutamente total.
completely.
Como
As a point of
punto de
view
vista de
as a
hombre
man,
y que
and
tengo
that I
la
have the opinion as
de
a man
hombre
that
que no
can
puedo
Leslie
ver
cannot see
Leslie,
because I am a
es el
man,
hombre justamente. Y
in
la que
which
yo no
I,
puedo
I
ver
cannot give
mujer
the
es
opinion as a
ella.
woman because that's what she's here for.
Pero
But
las
women,
mujeres,
in this
en
case
este
that I'm
caso que yo estoy
speaking,
hablando,
we
somos
are the one
el
that
que
Yahweh
Yahweh
gave us
nos dio
dominion over
dominio
you
sobre ustedes.
due to a
Por
curse.
maldición.
So then
Entonces, tiene
it's
mucho valor
valuable
que
for
yo
me
lo
to see
diga.
it. If a
Si una
woman says
mujer
it,
lo
she's
dice,
what?
es queja.
If I
Si
say it,
yo lo
it's
digo,
not a
no es
complaint,
queja, sino es hay que
but saying we
revertir
have
esa
to
maldición.
do away with that curse. Exactly.
Hay que
What we have to do is get Yahweh to raise that curse.
¿Por qué?
Why do I get upset? Of course, see, the thing is, it's not that I don't get upset. It's not that I get upset, but why do I
¿Por qué
speak?
yo hablo?
For you to not get married. Why? Why do I say that? That stupid, supposedly stupid thing? Because I've seen so many cases, so many that ruin their lives. Always remember that I have an experience a lot more than what you have because I'm a son of a pastor. And my dad went through so many churches, and I saw the girls how they would ruin themselves. They'd grow and they'd be pregnant, they'd be ruined, they would ruin their lives, and they are embittered up until today. Embittered, being able, having the opportunity of being able to be someone else, never a woman. Not necessarily a woman. I can't be like that. It is very difficult for a woman to achieve what she wants to do in life. Very difficult. Because she doesn't learn what she wants to learn, and she does not achieve a position of work that she would like to have. She does not achieve, except for some, because she is bound to a curse. Now, some guy can achieve many things, but a woman cannot. Before, only a crazy woman could make music, but everyone would see her some crazy chick, completely crazy, a rock. But a chick that's a rocker, it says, I have a band that didn't give a fuck about anything, or however they want to see this religious, but I'm going to do my own life. She was happier than a Christian subjugated that has never been happy, for example. I've lived it. I've lived it in many places. As a son of a pastor, I lived it even in my own home with my parents. I lived it, the frustration of my mother, and the frustration of my dad. I saw them. That is why when I speak, I don't speak because I have a mind like this one that wrote to me or this one that wrote there, but because of experience. And many of you there that hear me could tell me I'm right in the sense that yes, that you got married, you were rushed, that you had horrible experiences, being able, if you were to revert time back, you would not get married again with that person, for example, or with that woman or that man or whatever. You will not have the children. Once you have the children, you love them, but the frustration of the woman is still there. And then the insanity of the woman because she's staying at home, and then poverty, all the poverty that humanity lives, that maybe you're living, misery of always living day to day, wishing you had something that you don't have, counting every cent, trying to gather money, make ends meet, and for the babies to eat, and for the kids to eat. How much misery! Everyone stacked together, living together, and then there's so many problems all over the place. But of course, well, why do they have to live with their uncles? Because they had children. Now where they're going to live out in the street? Wow, just wow, wow. So then, what is it that God wants from us? What God wants from us, record this in your mind. is to curse us. That's what he wanted. He told the woman, your desire shall be unto the man, and the man will have lordship over you. That is the mind of Elohim over you, women. How do you revert that? Go against that. There's no other way. There's no other way. There no other way exists. Go against the desire of the man and go against having a man as an owner. Maybe you don't understand it, but that is the curse of Yahweh over women and over men. And over men. That our desire is with them, and all men looking for women, always hot, looking for women and looking for women, wanting to have a son and wanting to have a son here and there, and that all the skirt, and they have to look at women's asses. Oh, if they could break away with that, it's a curse. Who gave it? No. Oh, you're a degenerate. God gave it. God, Elohim gave it. Don't get upset on anyone, but we have to revert all that dog shit back. Okay, what question was I on? Oh, I was going to ask, is the eternal truth anti-Zionist? No, how's it going to be anti-Zionist? If we believe in the scripture, we believe that Zion represents the new capital or the government of the Messiah. The Messiah is super Zionist. We, as the eternal truth, are absolutely Zionists. Now, you have to understand what we are referring to by Zionists. I'm referring to the Zion in Scripture. Any other group, Zionist, or anything that believes that they have the right of establishing themselves in a place, and because of that, it makes them, gives them the right to do whatever they please and to dominate everything. No, that is not what I support. We do not support that type of Zionism. But biblical Zionism, we're completely Zionists, because either we're Zionists or we're from Babylon, of course. The name is occupied by another. So then Zionism, if you understand my words, we're not related, nor do we support that, not in the very least. In fact, we denounce that it's Babylon. It is the whore. But if we are Zionists, absolutely, because the Messiah is Zionist. And this, no, not this one. I'm not going to read this one. This one requires a lot more texts for me to explain it. I've explained it years ago, and I like it. It's very fun, but I need to at least a half hour or more to explain it. So that's it. I read all of them except for one that is left there. That is very good, but I'm going to read it later. So then, we get to the book of Proverbs. Remember that I love for you to ask questions, because this about wisdom and discipline, I noticed that the most important thing is for you to have to learn something to learn, and also to ask when you learn. You ask to comprehend certain things that you didn't understand. So then, continue to ask. I love the questions, no matter if they're stupid, if they're degenerate, doesn't matter. But write the questions in Facebook. I love the questions. In fact, I like the questions than to speak about the book of Proverbs, tell the truth. That's why I've been reading them, and well, when they're over, they're over. But I really enjoy the questions, and I think you also enjoy them, because they are things that are actually edifying for everyone. That about the audio worries me, because to me, how you see the video, that I could care less, but the voice, it has to be very clear. It's always been very clear. I don't like to use the microphones here, because the microphones here, they make noise. I have a very good microphone, but I do not understand why you hear that sound. Look, I'm going to grab this microphone here and tell me, can you hear me louder now? Here, I don't think this mic is working. I think it's this one. So then that microphone the mic is working. Yeah, because when I unplugged it, it was muted. Okay, it's working. I'll leave it there. I don't know. can hear it well. No, I'll leave it there for now. I'm about to wrap this up. Proverbs. I'm about to wrap this up. It's been 3 hours speaking already. 3 hours. I think it's better there now. Gabriel says that the echo's still there. We'll check that out later. Okay, text of the invitation. We're not going to get to the text of the invitation, but of course not. This time I needed to complete the questions, but I'll read to you a little bit. For the following week, we can once again, in the subject, we'll go to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. So as to understand wisdom and doctrine, it doesn't say wisdom and doctrine, but wisdom and discipline. To understand wisdom and discipline, to know prudent reasons, to receive the advice, not advice, but discipline, musar, to receive, musar, to receive, discipline, and prudence, justice, judgment, and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and the interpretation thereof, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, or better said, the fear towards Yahweh. Either way, the fear, in other words, this is the maximum secret, the very beginning of wisdom is the fear of Yahweh, or towards Yahweh. The fools despise wisdom and instruction. While I was reading this, I was thinking a little bit in the Jewish way of all the instincts that I've spoken of before, how they call it. What do they call them? They call them the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is the bad instinct. We could say, yes, there's no better translation. Our passions or instincts, the bad ones and the perverse ones. In Hebrew, it's called Yetzer Hara. And that when God created us, He placed that upon us so that it is precisely an adversary, a Satan towards us, precisely, so that we would learn to have a personality and that would submit the Yetzer Hara, to submit it. But the Yetzer Hara, and I tell it to you the way it's said by the Jews, is just a new term. The Yetzer Hara is all the things which naturally flow in human beings but are not good for them. For example, selfishness, jealousy, covetousness, the lower passions, even fear, and other things which are the natural instincts. They are natural because Yahweh placed that Satan there, but they name it, and I agree with it. We call it Yetzer Hara. and that if we want to grow as people, we have to dominate that. It is in us. We have to dominate it. We cannot eliminate it. I want you to understand. We can dominate it. Because many people, wrongly so, they say, I'm evil. No, we're all evil. We're also all good. You cannot eliminate evilness from you. You can't. The day you eliminate it, you don't exist. So then, inasmuch that we cannot abandon wickedness, also as we cannot get rid of good, we can tilt a bit towards one way or another, but never think I'm a bad person. No. We all have the same nature. But some dominate the Yetzer Hara or the Yetzer Hara better than others. So then we've got some guy that falls in certain things. Then we have another guy that doesn't fall in certain things. What is the difference? The difference is the dominion of, if you place the Yetzer Hara and you bind it, you cannot kick it out. You cannot eliminate it. It is with you, but you dominate it. Either you dominate it or it dominates you. It's as simple as that. That is what we are. That we're Christians and we kneel in Jesus. If you were to ask him, he eliminates your lower passions. Oh no, that right there, that's stupidity. Complete stupidity. Those that say, I all of a sudden stop drinking all of a sudden. No. You didn't stop drinking all of a sudden because you got bored. But you didn't need the help of Jesus. Oh, help me, Jesus. No. You have to learn to dominate your Yetzer Hara. Your Yetzer Hara, your instincts, your bad instincts, yes, and the good ones. Your bad instincts. This one says, drink more. Look at that girl. Look, go. Steal. Oh, beautiful. And you don't have that. He doesn't deserve it. And yeah, how did he do it? The points are doing well, okay? Because they don't give me all that much. Don't give tithe. Why do you give tithe? Look how he lives. Oh no, you earned that, and you broke your ass and you have to give tithe. Oh no, fuck it, fuck that shit. Give him whatever if you want to give him something. That is the Yetzer Hara. We all have that. The thing is, do we shut him up? We cannot kick him out. It is real. That figure of a little devil and a little angel, we all have that. The little devil is the Yetzer Hara and the little angel. Remember what you read. You know what is right and wrong. And it's not the Holy Spirit speaking. No. It is what you learned, what is right. And this, your natural bad instinct that Yahweh placed in man, and in women, of course, he placed it there. That is the Yetzer Hara. That is what you have to dominate, the man. That learns to dominate. His Yetzer Hara is stronger than the one that dominates a city. Solomon said that clearly. The man that learns to dominate oneself, that is where self-discipline enters. That is where it was also discovered by Marcus Aurelius. The Roman Empire. No, what do they call it? Stoicism, I believe. Is the form of how to self-control oneself. You don't have to think, how evil am I? What a bad instinct do I have? No. The bad instinct is had by all of us. How do I control it? That's it. And the more that we control it, the more you hold on to it for so long, then it doesn't bother you anymore, but it comes from a different angle. That part is under control, pretty much under control. Not eliminated ever, mind you, but under control. That is our life, our human beings. It is to dominate our lower passions. It is to dominate our bad instincts. It is to dominate also the bad advices. It is to dominate also our culture. It is to dominate also our ideas, our religious ideas, the bad ones. To start to say, look, this is wrong. Let's start to do this right. That is what it is for wisdom is, and discipline. That is what it is. Discipline is kind of like saying to discipline the Yetzer Hara. That is what discipline is. And wisdom is to understand that we have a bad nature that we cannot eliminate, that we cannot extirpate, but we can control and dominate. That we can do. We can control it. See, the thing, it's the same thing. We eat a lot, we get fat. How awful is that? How I dominated by not eating. I mean, and that's the way it is. And all the laws of Hammer have to do with it. Yetzer Hara, okay? A lot to do with it. That's why there's envy, loss of territory, and all that. The Yetzer Hara makes you have all those DHSs. You lost your territory that was yours. Now you have to recover it. So in order to recover it, it says, look, what we have to do, open your arteries so that you flow more blood and you have more stamina, more strength. Go and recover it. Kill the guy that you have to kill. And the arteries, they break and they open so that more blood flows through them. And then later, if you recover that territory lost, so now we have to repair, and you die out of a heart attack. That was produced by your bad instincts. If you're to say, then keep that territory. I mean, I don't give a fuck. Keep it. If a man were to say, these are difficult things. If a man right, if a man were to say, okay, I'll get it, then keep it. No, fights, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. Don't touch my woman, because, oh, well, and that the woman don't touch her macho, because it's hers. Let him go, leave that macho go. It's difficult. I'm talking about stupid shit. It's very difficult, but what is it that makes you have those instincts right there? This is mine. That is a lot in your Latin women with your male children, male sons. Yeah, because a lot of women could say, yeah, I'll free myself of my own, but I'll go for another one for that one. Yeah, they'll say, I'll go for that one. Mine doesn't work anymore. I'll go get that one. I'll get hers. That is what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. That they have to change. What Leslie said is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But they want to conquer something else because they got bored with something and conquer of territory. I want to conquer the territory. And then later said, this is mine. The mothers over their male, the Latin mothers, very marked, it is my male's child. Oh, wow. And the children towards the mothers also, it is my mom. And they're all like that. The problem in Latin America is brutal, of course. It's all about the lower instincts. Who dominates well the lower instincts? Let me tell you something. The Messiah has to dominate those instincts. Or else, how is he going to be a Messiah? He has to dominate. The Messiah, there cannot be a Paul. There cannot be. In the Messiah, there cannot be a Peter. There cannot be. In the Messiah, there has to be something which Yahweh has in mind for the new cycle, which is the Messianic era, to be a justice for everyone. And justice for everyone is not to subjugate the woman again. That is not justice for everyone. The misogynist man might see it as justice. Oh, nah, this fucking bitch. That is not justice, but in the mind of a macho, that was justice. In the mind of Peter, it was justice for the women not to wear jewelry. In the mind of Paul, it was justice for the woman to cover herself. A Messiah cannot be that way. That cannot be, absolutely not. The Messiah has to free and get rid of the curses of Yahweh. And as it turns out, when the Messiah frees that curse, saying that the desire is not towards the man from the woman, and the woman is not a property of the man. Right there is a world that for us will be unknown. Just like that. Unknown. In some sense, that is good, because the people that don't have anything and don't wish for anything, they cannot lose territory. right, you don't have anything. You won't have anything and be happy. And the one that was right was Schwab. Schwab was right. That little horn Schwab speaking. You won't have anything and be happy, but the one that gets to have and be happy is perfectly well. Exactly. Was it not said by Yeshua? Not Yeshua, who was Yahweh here, did he not say, do not have any possession? Because where your heart is, the possessions, they get ruined completely. They get stolen. Make possessions in heaven. What is it to have possessions in heaven? Just with your faith, thinking that you'll have it someday. It says there, you are sure. Nobody steals it, and it says your heart will be okay. Because look, wherever your possession is, that's where your heart will be also.
Whoever has that in mind is at peace.
Thou shalt have nothing.
You either want to possess something,
And you shall be happy.
or whether you want to be possessed, just like the song, remember?
The song by Eurythmics says there are people that like to be possessed and there are people that like to possess others. How's it? How'd it go, that part? Sweet dreams, na 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 na. Sweet dreams. How does that part go? I don't want to sing it to you.
But exactly, every mind that wants to either possess or be possessed,
Exactly.
they're always in that war of emotions.
Exactly. And I could even add that instead of thou shalt have nothing, is thou shalt not possess anyone and be happy.
Thou shalt not possess anything.
No, not nothing. No one. We're talking about possessing people.
No, but there are people that die because they stole something.
Yes, of course. I mean, exactly.
And they suffer either way.
Sweet dreams. Lyrics.
If their heart is bound to the possessions,
Eurythmics. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I've traveled the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused. Exactly. 100% is wisdom speaking here.
exactly,
Wisdom speaking.
literally speaking.
Wisdom speaking. I'll read it to you in Spanish now. Since no one understood a thing, they're like, not even those that speak English understood. They say, nah, I'm just kidding. Nah, my English is almost perfect. Spanish. Sweet dreams, Spanish. Let's see, sweet dreams, Spanish.
Generally, those that like to possess their couple also like to possess their friends, their children.
Everything. Our nephew's giving me, I'll take him with me. The sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I've traveled the world. Everyone's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be used by you. Some of them want to take advantage of you. Some of them want you to take advantage of them. I want to use you and take advantage of you. I want to know what is within you.
And the song actually doesn't say to take advantage, it's abuse.
Abuse, exactly. And it says some want to abuse you, and some of them want to be abused by you. In other words, it is such a bad translation. Who are the idiots that translate this? Some of them want to be abused by you, and some of them want to be abused. That's what it says clearly. That is humanity, clearly. That is humanity. So then, everything is reduced to the beginning of wisdom is the fear of Yahweh. The fools despise wisdom and teaching. Today you have learned many things. even the term in Hebrew about the bad instincts, what was it called? Do you remember? Please tell me, how was it called? Brian didn't say it because he already knows. What was it called in Hebrew? And I repeated it so many times, mind you. What's it called, Brian? Yetzer hara. It's called Yetzer hara. Oh, in the chat? Oh, I didn't give the chat time. They start to look, they Google it. Yetzer hara. So then, our mission is to dominate the Yetzer hara. And the beginning of wisdom is the fear of Yahweh, or the fear to Yahweh. I hope that this has been something of prophet. This is the school of the Messiah. The Messiah is not a misogynist. It is not a being that will defend the laws that Hammer discovered. He does not want to implement the Ten Commandments under any aspect. The Messiah does not want to implement the law in the New World under any aspect. The Messiah wants to do his own law. He will found his own absolute new laws. That is what the Messiah will do. And it is very, very clear that he will not follow anything of what the Bible says. Everything comes new. It is precisely the Messianic era, and that is why I want that at least you, those that listen to me, start to open your mind that things are not how you have lived them or how they told you they were. Things should not be, nor how the Bible says that they are, nor how the whole life they've told you that they were religiously. No. We're not looking for a new world where, yes, there could be perfect couples. No, that's not. It's not what we're looking for. No. Well, there does have to be complete equality. We are looking for that. We are looking for that. We're not looking for a new world where the couple say, "Oh, you were married over there, and now you're gonna end up married for all eternity here." No, that's not what we're looking for. That would be horrible. How many couples of you, and I'm not asking you because there might be many. If I were to ask you, and could you answer, which you're not gonna, nor am I asking you to, how many couples of you would want to get divorced if in the new world? Well, I'm telling you that many would be answering right now, but I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask because that is just left in your mind. So then, the Messiah, that's what I'm demonstrating. That's exactly the point I'm demonstrating. Because they are here in this life, like as a companionship, but neither of the two really wants or feels like they have done what they really wanted to do or that they had a dream of, and they could be completely different one from the other. What do I believe in? Well, I believe in everything that I've preached to you. I believe also that both the curses, just like the blessings, like the laws that this world has lived during 6,000 years, one of those is matrimony. And as we have known matrimony, it will not take place during the Messianic era. The way we have known it, it'll no longer exist. As we know it, it will no longer exist. As we know it, I'm not saying it, Yahweh said it. Because they asked him now in the new world, in the Messianic era, in the resurrection, which is the same thing, whom will she marry? And he said, you know what? You know not the scriptures and you know not the power of God. And I add, you do not know the Messiah. That is what I would add. Because matrimony should not work in the same way that it has worked up until now. None whatsoever. Maybe it's one of the many entities which are absolutely destroyed. And the mentality of the human being changes, and that the form of having children be different, that it be different. Just like that it be different, the form of having children. And the form that a man can have a child, and both that he and her can have a child. Both of them. Women, and both things that we don't even imagine, just like Paul said. And I'll quote him again. The good thing he said, that eye has not seen, nor ear has heard, are the things prepared by God for those that in him do trust, something like that. This world as a prototype helps us to see what was wrong, exactly, to then perfect it. Magnificent, magnificent. The institution which is matrimony is the question, has it worked during these 6,000 years? And if you were all to vote, I don't think so. So then it is one of the abolitions that will come, because it is a new law, it is a new world, it is a new institution and a new way of thinking. But since this is a school, the Messiah, what I want you to learn today is to have a free mind. Free. None of you of what you see here or what you see here or what you see here, and even less what you see here, and also not of what you see here, will be the rules to be applied in the new world. They are new rules. It has new set of rules, of laws, their own laws. The other day, there's going to be a 20-second delay, but I want to read this text that I can't remember where it is, but precisely Miguel Angel quoted it. You quoted it where it says, and the coasts shall receive the law, something like that. What was the text? It's a messianic text that you quoted that is very good. That precisely when I was speaking about how the Messiah would set his own laws, you quoted this text, which we've read many times before, that it's very clear what it's saying. Miguel Angel, you quoted a text that I want to read already. In Isaiah, I think that it says that the coasts shall hear his law. Isaiah 42, what? 12. Exactly, Isaiah 42. Yes, 42:4. Very good. Yes. I'll read it in this version. It's talking about the Messiah, right? Isaiah 42:4. Isaiah 42:4 says, there it is, very clear. It is way too good. I'll read from number 1. 42:1. Behold my servant, that servant is the Messiah, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgments to the Gentiles. It is the Mashiach. He shall not cry nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. He's not a public preacher. You see, that's good. You see, it's not the one in the train or in the park or Stephen. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. How shall he bring the justice? Through the truth. Exactly, by means of the truth, not of yelling, by means of the truth shall he bring judgment. He shall not fail, nor be discouraged, till he have set judgment on earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. What law? The law of Moses? No, the law of the Messiah. The law of the Messiah. It is the law of the Messiah. Absolutely. The law, it is a new law. A law which they are waiting for, it is a new law. It has nothing to do with the Torah. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It is a new law. And the new law the Messiah will give and present. And he will not rest until he brings judgment by means of the truth. What a magnificent text to wrap up this subject. The isles and the entire world awaiteth the new law of the Messiah. Let us wrap up with a word of prayer. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks because you're preparing us in this school. You're opening our minds, are showing us that throughout these 6,000 years they had their own function, but in the upcoming era of the Messiah, all the laws will change, all the institutions will change, all the religion that has been up until now shall no longer exist, and even what we have as very valid and very sacred on this earth shall stop being valid and sacred, because what's coming is a new time, a new mind, a new law. And you prophesied it, and the Messiah, your chosen one, will bring justice unto earth by means of the truth. What a spectacular phrase. Actually, we believe that this is soon to happen, but it depends on you. You have the power of anointing, of giving power unto your Messiah, so that your Messiah can start to do the work. And we're in this school to continue to do this work, to be prepared when the time comes. All this we thank you for, in your precious name. YHWH Hallelujah. Semper Fi. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Crowned with glory, let us live. Long live the bride, the Mashiach, the Son of Man, which soon will bring justice to the nations by means of the truth. Hallelujah to every one of you. As a task, you should comment this video. Also, as a task, you should write on a paper to learn a new word, the Yetzer Hara, which is written, well, I'll write it to you later. Yetzer Hara. I think it's written this way. I'm going to risk it, because it's a transliteration. Let's see. It is written Yetzer, something like this. If there's a correction, I'll tell it to you later. I think some write it with a Y, but I believe it's like this. Could be with a Y. Yetzer Hara. Could be with an accent mark or an H at the end. I'll write it to you better later, but you can understand it the way it is. It's Yetzer Hara. Some pronounce Yetzer. I don't know where the accent mark goes, but that's how you can understand it. Yetzer Hara. This is an I, not a T, in case you didn't understand. And I'll write it this time with a Y. I've seen it written in a different way. I believe it's with that of Yahweh, of Yeshua, Eloheinu, Yetzer Hara. I think this is better. I think you can see it. I think the microphone is right there. Yetzer Hara. Can you lead from here? Don't fall off. Right there. There it is. You see the way it's written? Right there. There it is. Stay still. Now you can see it? You can see it now. I believe it's written this way. If it's not written that way, I'll tell it to you later. But learn what that is. So it's precisely what we have to dominate. It's our lower instincts. Our lower instincts. And bad passions. Not bad instincts, but bad passions in all aspects. Bad emotions and all the rest. And within those bad emotions, you also have that desire of defending what we believe is to be true, what we learned in this religion. But no one come and defend stupid shit. That is a part of the instruction of Yetzer Hara that says this is like defending the Virgin Mary, defending matrimony. No. The Messiah comes with a new law. And they will all wait for the new law of the Mashiach. Hallelujah to every one of you. Do not forget to comment, because it makes me very happy, because I read your comments. And also, ask questions for next Shabbat. Hallelujah to every one of you.